In Kids on Bikes, you take on the roles of everyday people grappling with strange, terrifying, and very, very powerful forces that they cannot defeat, control, or even fully understand. Using stats like grit, charm, fight, flight, brains, and brawn, you'll choose your own destiny in this storytelling, rules-light, tabletop role-playing game where adventure is a bike ride away. Kids on Bikes even allows you to create a communally controlled, powered character to add another dimension of gameplay to your games. Jump right into the action and create your own band of ragtag mystery solvers today. Hunt down a rare remaining physical copy at your favorite local game store or download the PDF on Drive-Thru RPG. Kids on Bikes 2nd edition is anticipated very soon.
People for Bikes is the U.S. bicycle industry's trade association and a national advocacy nonprofit representing more than 325 bicycle industry supplier members and nearly 1.4 million individuals. Through our 3 areas of influence, infrastructure, policy, and participation, we accelerate the construction of safe, fun, and connected places to bike. We advance pro-bike business legislation and reduce barriers to access, welcoming more people to the joys of riding a bike. Our goal, become the best place to ride a bike in the world. What does that look like to us? From large urban cities to small rural towns, the U.S. is the best place to ride a bike. For recreation, or to safely get where you want to go. Communities are more connected and vibrant thanks to the bicycle. Protected bike lanes, trails, and bike parks are ubiquitous, and children are taught to ride in elementary school. Biking is commonplace. People of every age, size, race, identity, and ability ride daily since bicycling is affordable and fully integrated into public transport. The American way of life has been transformed. People are happier, and the planet is healthier. This is our goal.
In Kids on Bikes, you take on the roles of everyday people grappling with strange, terrifying, and very, very powerful forces that they cannot defeat, control, or even fully understand. Using stats like grit, charm, fight, flight, brains, and brawn, you'll choose your own destiny in this storytelling, rules-light, tabletop role-playing game where adventure is a bike ride away. Kids on Bikes even allows you to create a communally controlled, powered character to add another dimension of gameplay to your games. Jump right into the action and create your own band of ragtag mystery solvers today. Hunt down a rare remaining physical copy at your favorite local game store or download the PDF on Drive-Thru RPG. Kids on Bikes 2nd edition is anticipated very soon.
People for Bikes is the U.S. bicycle industry's trade association and a national advocacy nonprofit representing more than 325 bicycle industry supplier members and nearly 1.4 million individuals. Through our 3 areas of influence, infrastructure, policy, and participation, we accelerate the construction of safe, fun, and connected places to bike. We advance pro-bike business legislation and reduce barriers to access, welcoming more people to the joys of riding a bike. Our goal, become the best place to ride a bike in the world. What does that look like to us? From large urban cities to small rural towns, the U.S. is the best place to ride a bike. For recreation, or to safely get where you want to go. Communities are more connected and vibrant thanks to the bicycle. Protected bike lanes, trails, and bike parks are ubiquitous, and children are taught to ride in elementary school. Biking is commonplace. People of every age, size, race, identity, and ability ride daily since bicycling is affordable and fully integrated into public transport. The American way of life has been transformed. People are happier, and the planet is healthier. This is our goal.
Hello and welcome to Roleplay Give. We are you can't hear us. I don't know what happened, but I can tell you don't have
We
any.
could be anything. We won't even tell you because you can't
We
hear us anyway.
don't have audio, and I could have sworn I set all that up.
We do now.
Okay, you can hear it. Check, check, check. Okay, yeah, we do. It's just I was the only one talking, and I couldn't see my meter. Okay. Cool. You've heard all of that. It's typical.
Good talk.
Good talk. Glad you were here for that. All right. Hey, we're a tabletop role-playing game community, and we play games, and every once in a while, well, actually all the time if you're interested, raise money for various causes. Right now we are playing for People for Bikes, and they are a advocacy group that works towards common sense bike law and helping people get access to bicycles. Kind of on your honor system. If you want to donate, just let us know that you donated. And basically, the only one that you really need to know about is this $20 buys the party a reroll. Okay. We have been playing for I think 4 years. I'm gonna recap all of that right now. I'm just kidding. We started with the Ghosts of Saltmarsh game, ran most of that, and transitioned it, since it takes place in Greyhawk, into the classic Greyhawk high-level series of adventures of Against the Giants, Vault of the Drow, and the Queen of the Demon Web Pits. And we have completed Saltmarsh and Giants, and we are beginning tonight Vault of the Drow, the 3-module series Vault of the Drow. And what is going on, the cogent things you need to know if you're just picking up the game right now, is that the party is on a ultimate fetch quest. They have to get 8 threads of Lolth that will open the gate. It's a one-way opening into where Lolth was imprisoned from falling. She fell from godlyhood into demonhood and was imprisoned in the abyss, and there's a plot for her to get out. But what the players are hoping to do is to open the gate themselves, bringing the threads with them, and they can't be used from the other side, which means Loth will be trapped there. Nobody else will be able to open the gate, and therefore circumventing the chances of her enacting her plot to take over the world. Muhahaha. So, they have 7 of the threads. The 8th is with an ally of theirs, who is, they are aware, being harmed by it. And they know that their ally's brother is looking for her, and hopefully they will rendezvous, since they all know where they're all going. And so they are taking these 7 threads of Lolth to the capital of the Underdark Drow sort of nation. There's a couple of cities in this nation, and Erelai Kinlu is the capital, which is currently under the sway of, I would put it, religious fundamentalists, who really sort of they're uh, they're putting the Lothbecks into absolutism. I don't know. It's very much a group of people who have said this is how we're supposed to be, and they're asserting their will on the rest of the people, generally through violence, but also through politics. And you have talked to a couple of Drow who are unhappy about this turn of events, and who have given the group a map. That map is what is showing on the screen right now. And currently, after defeating the king of the fire giants and moving, so the Republicans, yeah, yeah, um, the nah, I mean not yet, but getting there. I mean, the Drow are mildly worse at this point.
RPG screen. Like somebody's like that's not even a person who's commenting on that.
Anybody who has the token highlighted and types it will say it's from them. Yeah, but
That's funny.
immediately knew that was Tony. Yeah,
Yep,
no,
it's Tony.
it's Tony. So they have climbed down into the Underdark from a tunnel that they found underneath the Hall of the Fire Giant King, and are working their way. They know vaguely, now that they are some miles below the surface of the Earth, that they have quite a few miles to go northwest from their current location. The map they have does sort of mark certain things, although they're not completely certain what the markings mean. But it does seem to imply certain things are hubs or things to be concerned about, or at least be aware of. And so we begin with them roughly 1 mile southeast of what they think is the first marking on the map. The halls that you're in, this tunnel, is in places rough, like a water carved tunnel, and in other places looks to have been shored up and meant for travel. Not just a naturally occurring tunnel, it also is clearly cared for. The tunnel is large enough, wide enough, and tall enough all around for fire giants to walk comfortably through. Although you do not see any signs around you now of any having come this way. And that is where I think we'll pick up. Oh, I had a question for the party because I couldn't remember. You had an offer from two Illithid to escort them to their meeting location. You did not trust that offer, and in the heat of battle, things happened, and both of them ended up dead. I can't remember what happened to their Drow captive. And I didn't go back and watch the episode.
Left him behind.
You just left him there. Okay.
Yeah, I think we might have intended to leave him, and maybe Robespierre killed him.
Which also tracks, but he's
I
not.
think, to our knowledge, he's left behind.
Right.
To our actual knowledge, we may have a suspicion.
Okay. So
we also are unlikely to see the things you talked about because we're currently in a demiplane.
I think he just put that. Oh, did he actually cast it? Like I know he put
we
it
went
in
to the
here.
demiplane to get a long rest.
Oh, that's right.
And then he was using the demiplane to bring us back.
Okay. So, I have to read this because I don't know. Each time you cast a spell, you can create a new demiplane or have the shadowy door connect to a demiplane you created with a previous casting of the spell. Additionally, if you know the contents of a demiplane created by casting the spell by another creature, you can have the shadowy door connect to its demiplane instead.
A year ago, we were in the styes.
Wow.
That was the last adventure of Saltmarsh.
It only took us a year to do giants.
Well, it
Pretty
is
impressive.
only 3 modules, whereas Saltmarsh was 9. But still, uh, yeah, yeah. Uh, and I think these are even quicker. I think we'll see. Uh, so as long as you get out before the spell ends, otherwise he has to cast it again to get the door out. And I think that's what he actually said he had to do, right? Like that it would shut you guys in there, and then you all stayed in there,
Yep.
and then he would have to recast demiplane to get you guys out. So
That's correct.
okay,
So we won't have a demiplane to sleep in tonight.
that's right. That's what he said. So since I refreshed this, I will just cast that right now. Okay, and you guys exit the demiplane back into the hallway. This shadowy door opens into the hallway as you left. He dismisses the spell, and you guys are standing in a large hallway. I should also add that everything down here is covered in a purplish and green lichen. Uh, and it permits, it casts a bright light for 10 feet, allowing sight for 10 feet, and another dim light for another 10 feet after that. So I think I have the maps where we're actually in the cave set up to do that, but it could all go wrong. And so if you, we'll sort it out if we need to. Since all of you have dark vision capability currently, if you're wearing your giant helmet, I'm wearing my magic helmet. Uh, then you should be able to see.
There's been a few times I've been tempted. Nope, I'm still wearing it. Just to use dark vision as a spell because of all the attunement items.
Right.
But it looks like right now I'm still wearing it.
Okay. All right. It's not. It is actually quite dry. The air is quite dry in here. There's even with the lichen thriving on these walls, casting this phosphorescent glow. It's kind of dry feeling in the Underdark.
Mary, I think maybe you take the lead as the one who can read the map the best.
I can definitely try. I know we were speculating as we're coming up on this eye symbol on the map that it might be patrolled. So I think we should try to be somewhat stealthy, not be noticed, just to see if we can figure out what is going on as we get closer.
Well, didn't we see that eyeball on like the cultist belt buckles, or was that the spider back in Lamasha Duel?
No, you did not see the eyeball in that context. No.
Okay. I feel like we've seen it before.
It's a really bad drawing I did from the module art. It is not meant in any way. You should not feel looking at it. You should not feel in any way that it was to be connected to any other cult symbol I have ever drawn or done. I will just say that metagaming out to you for clarity's sake.
Thanks.
It should not look like something you've seen before. And if it does, that's because I draw all the stuff we do.
That's because human brains look for patterns.
Uh-huh.
Well, and it's possible I've done eyeball stuff, and there were some stuff I think with the sinking ship adventure.
Well, and then Navishla had an eyeball yesterday too, so.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna be stealthy, are you gonna be like a critter of some kind? Or do you want us to all sneak up there?
I mean, I could go ahead, see what's ahead, or we could all just be very careful and quiet. What do y'all think?
Scouting ahead is a good idea. I could see if Katha can take a look.
That's another option. I could kind of save my critterness for another time.
Okay.
Right.
I just don't want to mess up. I know I talk too much.
Well, it's good to have a plan, right?
Yeah.
How far are we? Essentially, one hex is a mile, so.
Roughly a mile.
But we take up a whole hex.
I know.
So...
I'm not gonna have you guys walk on a 10 or a 5-foot grid for a mile. This is just
right. But would it be? Are we close? Well, how about we walk until we're close enough that it makes sense to send Katha ahead?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna do this for every mile, even though that's the way this module is written. That's because it was written for 1E, and 1E was all about, gauntlet surviving. You just get pummeled over and over again. But I will ask for a fateful D12 this time for your first foray down these tunnels to see if you attract the attention of anything wandering through here along this mile.
Anybody want it?
Well, roleplay
RPG
screen
did it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's because I don't have your guys' tokens. I should pull your tokens on here so you can highlight yourselves so that we can talk. I just want to mark where you guys are at with that token. So we'll pull.
That was muted.
And in case he comes in later. Okay. So, yeah, you encounter nothing. Now, Mary is a cartographer, has pretty good sense of these things, and starts to um, pull you guys up short, I guess, a little when you're, what, a quarter mile away? Less? Start listening for signs of anything after traveling a mile. And everybody can make me a perception check if you would like. If you're so inclined.
I think I will be trying to perceive.
Okay.
Not as well as others.
Good lord. Some nat 20s came down the pike there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm just not even gonna roll.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
just gonna listen to them.
Well, a 15 was is a high enough roll as well. So you guys are just overachievers. But you hear actually the sound of an argument, and it's not a. It's almost like a schoolyard argument, except it's not little kids. Because there's two main voices arguing, but there are sub arguments happening between other people, and so you can tell it sounds like two gangs have run into each other and are arguing. Uh, do any of you speak Undercommon? Well, Noob speaks everything. You speak everything, Tony. You don't even need to look.
Okay, yeah, what you said.
Yeah. And so you're starting to look, and I'm
But
like,
I have common and infernal anyway, so I feel like undercommon, right in between both of those, I should be good either way.
yeah, it's mostly that monk weirdness that you can understand all languages at this. Uh, like,
Yeah.
so you start picking up uh, almost schoolyard sounding taunts. These are Drow. You all can recognize that these are Drow. Um, but the nature of the argument is uh, it it begins with the kind of the concept. Well, not doesn't begin. The first kind of things you pick up are you aren't supposed to be here. You're violating orders. You're violating custom. You are violating our traditions. Then the other one, well, your foolish traditions have caused us this much, and others are doing little arguments like, yeah, I've seen better looking gum on the bottom of a shoe kind of thing. Just like little uh
Ew.
yeah, your mama type things. And but the larger voices are arguing about tradition, about position, about who has a right to be through here. One voice is more feminine sounding, the other is masculine sounding. The voice arguing for tradition is the feminine voice.
So I tell them that.
Okay.
Well, argument might give us some cover to get past. I think between Robespierre and myself, we can make everyone invisible for an hour.
Well, according to the map, there are several different directions we can go as we go through this area. Is there one in particular we should aim for, do you think? So we don't get lost, as we're invisible.
I think we should aim for the one that leads to Lamashadu. No, Eric Erhai Kinlu. That's the one we should go to.
Well, we have a hand symbol, and we have one that doesn't go to a hand symbol, and then there are several that seem to just kind of peter out.
Seems to me that it looks like the one 2 paths to the left has a connection past the hand symbol, and it strikes me that anything marked as a symbol is likely something we want to avoid.
I would agree with you, and if we could maybe take a rougher terrain, that's kind of what it looks like to me. It might be a less developed path, but more secretive.
So we should attempt to take the second path to the left
I think
from
that makes
this
a lot of sense.
crossroads.
I have no idea if the person who drew this map knew this, but the time I had a dashed line on the map, it was a mountain pass, and I really wish I had gone a different direction.
Um,
That's coming from Tony, not me.
um, you were given some indication of what the map, and so the the solid lines are actually considered thoroughfares, primary passages. Uh, there has been some signs. I will sort of retcon this out to as you were walking for the last 3/4 of a mile of even cart traffic through here. Um, there are people who do trade with the Underdark colonies and not colonies, civilizations, and so there is uh, some even commerce traffic that goes through these primary ones. The longer
What did
dashes,
they look like they had in their carts, and who
you
was
didn't
pulling them?
you didn't see any. You saw like tracks of carts and
Oh, okay.
like even on the stone, there's a wearing of
Got it.
where these carts have gone through. Um, and then the dash ones are sort of secondary lines, perhaps less patrolled, less traveled, and then the sort of deer pathy ones are narrow pathways where perhaps it gets very snug. less patrolled, less even by anyone's standards of being in a country they don't understand. There's no regulation, so there could be dangerous. You know, you could go out into the woods. You have a state park and go real deep in. You could find a bar. Um, so
Hmm.
might be worse than a bar here down in the Underdark. As you guys know, since several burrowing creatures came out from under here and attacked the city.
Oh. Yeah, we know that for sure. I put that together. So do we just keep walking until our invisibility runs out and then hope we're all in the same approximate location?
I'd say if no one's nearby when it falls off, maybe we all plan to go another hour past that. We don't see one another yet.
Right. I mean, once we get beyond earshot, we could try to call for each other. We don't have to be visible to find each other. Maybe make sure we're in the same area.
You guys, are you? Because I had you pull up short, but you don't see any branching tunnels before you hear the sound of the voices. So you know you're going to have to walk past the voices in order to get to any of these branching.
That's why we're
Okay.
having this
Okay.
conversation, so
Okay.
we know
Cool.
what to go. Like if we're invisible and
Right.
we walk through there, it's better to know ahead of time where we're going to go, so we're not
Sure.
all heading different directions. Just it looks like it's going to branch off according to the map. So, does everyone feel comfortable taking the route Elva and I mentioned? Yeah. All right.
Yes, I think this is a good idea.
I can help as well. Before you cast invisibility, I can cast that pass without trace just to maybe give us a little bit more of an edge as we sneak through.
That's awesome.
What?
What?
What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing because that's advantage n plus 10. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Like, what is that bad? It's so
No.
wrong.
No, I was just.
But I want to do before we do invisibility, so I don't lose.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yep.
anything like that. So I will cast that.
All right. I will be placing you
Should we
guys.
maybe when you
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
when you cast invisibility, do you want to just like count to 10 before the like pick an order and then count to 10 before the next person goes so we don't accidentally trip on one another?
The only thing is, you got to stay within 30 feet of me in order to benefit from pass
Yeah,
without
we
trace. So
we may well lose the benefit of pass without trace, but we will be invisible.
right.
Do you
So I'm
want to
just
hold
saying,
hands till we feel like we need to split up?
I would just suggest whoever may not be as stealthy go right or before after me. I could go in the middle of the order, and then we can do
Okay,
our best.
who's that? That's not me. I'm pretty stealthy.
I'm not exceptionally stealthy, but I'm not particularly bad at it either. But I may in
should
fact
be
be the
stealthy.
worst of the group.
Possibly. Well, whoever wants to.
Right. So, Meriwether, I will use my invisibility on myself and you, and we'll stick together.
All right, that sounds good.
Oh, I don't have disadvantage on stealth
And
anymore.
robes can get everyone else.
I forgot I got that fancy new armor.
So, would a marching order perhaps be Vela, Nubin, Robes, Mary, Elva?
Sure.
Okay.
And is Katha going first?
Yeah, I'll send Katha out just to get a lay of the land, to be able to report back before anybody's invisible or pass without a trace or anything.
And Katha is not invisible.
Correct.
Okay.
She's just tiny. She's gonna go fly around out there.
Give her a stealth.
Rip her sheet up. Let me.
Katha self. Okay. So Katha flies in and sees a large, like, central passageway similar to the one you're on. Uh, it it narrows somewhat, and then there are multiple tunnels. I'm gonna prep you guys before I put you on this map that it's pointing the wrong direction. It's not my fault. They made one map and they said
I can't handle that.
I will put a giant arrow in here.
I'm never playing a cartographer again. I can't do maps.
So north is to the right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Evil. You're evil.
I could have possibly fixed it, but I'm not sure how. Because
Don't worry, Paul. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Rotate.
Because now we have to figure out which way to go, and the map rotated.
Can you mark
Too
on the
hard.
map
I just
which
did.
one is the second from the left?
Oh, you won't actually see that, so don't worry about that.
Well, I'm thoroughly confused now. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Like this is a like they didn't give any of the stuff that Giants got for its reskin of 5e because I'm running this off of the 1e modules, and so like 1e very rarely did you have a grid, and so it was almost all theater of the mind, and the DM would just describe it. And what Gary Gygax did was he created 3 maps for this, and he went rotate it once for this one, rotate it twice for this one. But I didn't want to draw it 3 times, so or rotate it over and over. So I just decided to use his 3 different maps, and I altered them ever so slightly. But this one I realized is going to be confusing. It's I think the only time this is going to happen. So
Sure it is.
And so you're only going to get a map of what might be the potential encounter. You won't get a map of like door number 1, door number 2, door number 3.
Okay.
If you get past this map, then you will see the branching tunnels. But I don't have a map for that. I will just be describing it to you, theater of the mind style.
Okay.
So
Well, then we can't mess up too much, right?
not with
Right.
like playing sorry, no, but roles will still play. So all right. So Katha flies in. What Katha sees is a large, and I'm not going to put you guys on the map yet.
We can still see the map, just so you know.
Is it available?
Like it's
to
in
you?
our navigation.
Talking about.
It is. Oh.
I can. The map is. Yeah. Well, Ed just moved over and came back.
Bugbear and Trog map, but I don't have a token on it, so I can't see anything.
Yeah, we can't see in it, but it's in our navigation.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Whatever the Bugbear and Trog map improved
It's-
that's in our navigation.
That is not
I
the
don't
map.
know that that's the map you're on.
It is not. So, and I didn't realize that was available to you. So,
Well, we
But
can't
it
do
is-
anything anyway.
Yeah.
It's only sort of available. We can go there, but we can't see it.
right.
Yeah.
That, by the way, is the largest map I have ever imported into Foundry. It is so huge that when we go to that map, I'm going to call for a break because computers might take a while loading it. Okay. But that is not right now. Right now, you're on a map called Encounter Number 2.
Yeah, we
uh,
are.
but you're not. Katha flies in. What she sees is the large tunnel sort of narrows ever so slightly, like 5 feet on either side for a total of 10 feet narrower. And there are branching tunnels as if this is not a as well carved out area, and yet it looks strategic and very much habited. This your guess was correct. This is a watch center. This is a checkpoint, and some of the hallmarks of it as Katha flies in is Elva can see through Katha's eyes. This is like walking through the city gate. You are now entering, except it's not a city gate. It's like the gate, like a watch point on the boundary of a country, of a nation. It's like going through Canada.
Customs.
Yeah, customs. And so you are entering Drow territory. Sort of think of it as a less imposing, grim, but yet still it's underdark and glowing, weird Kirith Ungol from Lord of the Rings. Like the watchtowers as you enter the land of Mordor. You are now entering the land of the Drow. And then an arrow flies out at Katha. So I will now roll an attack roll because their perceptions beat that stealth.
And they don't allow even tiny creatures to fly through this area.
Well, they don't know what it is, and so they're going to shoot at it. They don't, I mean, because Katha doesn't look like a bat, you know. Katha's.
Well, in black and white, she might.
Yeah, but, well, I guess. Yeah, I'm still going to have them try to shoot it. What happened? Did it not roll? Oh, it did. Oh, it totally missed. Okay. And another one.
I'm going to dismiss her.
Oh, okay.
So, just, yeah, have her just fly toward the ground after the shot and then poof out.
Poof out. Okay, so then you guys are close enough that you can hear the arguing ends for a second. And what are you shooting at? And did you see that? I didn't see anything. What did it just landed? What? And then more taunting about drinking while on patrol, and the arguing continues. So, I will bring you guys on. You will all be invisible, and if you guys
And I'll relay the little bit that Katha saw before, just so we have some idea of what we're walking into.
got it. And I think you will all be under the invisible marker now, right? Because that's a thing you can do. No, not that thing. This thing.
Oh, wow. Look at how you look so different, Vela, when you're invisible. Well, maybe it doesn't look different to you, but to me...
No, it does.
Okay.
Yep.
It's like certain things
Yeah,
just
we're
blend
all,
into the background, and you got, like, black light.
It's
glowing.
inverted,
Yeah.
poster eyes. Or whatever it is when you...
I think it's because of, like, the way your hat... It just looks so different for you. Oh, wow, Nuben looks really different, too. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm finding it entertaining, I guess.
No, that's good. All right, can you guys see?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Will you all make your stealth rolls, remembering to add D10 and making them at advantage?
Not D10. 10.
10. Sorry, not D10. You're right. 10.
Which way are we going?
I forgot to add the
This one
time
is
for-
this is just going to be straight across because this map
Got it.
doesn't have the other ways.
Sorry, I forgot to put the plus 10 in.
Oh, don't worry
You
about
still got a 29. You're fine.
So I'm at 39.
Yep.
Okay.
it. All right. I have got to look to see if any of these people have a prayer. 36, 36, 26, 29,
No, it's 39.
39, sorry.
I forgot to add the 10.
Right. 39, 26, 36, 36. Oh, will somebody roll for robes?
Wait for it.
I don't think we can see him.
Oh,
I don't think we have his sheet anymore.
okay.
He's invisible, so hold on, I can open
I
his
got it.
PC.
I got it. I'll roll for him.
But I don't even have his sheet on. The
Too
list
late.
anymore.
I can get it. I got it. I'm on it. Plus 10 at advantage. Go.
Okay.
I did it.
Cool. Maybe this one.
That was
Wow,
a perception check.
Oh, yep. I did the same thing for Vela.
Layla's was perception also.
Sorry. Never mind. Let's try that again.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the hell out of it though.
Okay, Robes did better.
32.
Yeah. Vela.
It's 31. Okay, I picked the
Did
best
worst.
person we have, and she rolled a 24 for perception. I'm not gonna sit
Nice.
and roll every one of these people. I was just gonna pick the best one, best chance. And that. So they continue to argue. Anything you get, and can you see them? Like, there's this group on this side, and there are others sort of in this area here.
I don't, oh, okay. Yeah.
I can see a
They're both-
large black square.
Can see a lot of people, things moving.
Oh, wow. What is going on?
With what?
I just clicked to see what you. Okay. Oh, I know why. Because you've got blindness as a condition currently, Tony. There we go. You should be able to see better now.
That helps, yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, and these are the people arguing. The group on the top and the bottom. I'm not going to use cardinal directions because north, I have made an arrow on the screen, is to the right. So, there
Did you
is
change
Going
something?
south upward, right?
what
Did you change something in here?
I changed.
My token went away. I'll refresh.
I just clicked on you. You're still there for me.
That's good. Okay.
Um,
All good.
So, as you guys are like tiptoeing through, things start escalating, and a bit of like a large soggy mushroom gets flung. It goes sailing over your heads. No one's in any danger of being hit, but one of them yells at the other one that they're a splitter. And now there's, did you throw something? And now there's escalating, and they're starting to move into the hallway.
We're moving. I'm moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know how you want.
How do you want us to do that?
it,
I'm not.
but-
I'm not worried about you guys. Actually, this is on here mostly for like visuals. Not for actual. Unless something goes down, I'm gonna move you halfway through the space now, and they're sort of all kind of on both sides, kind of pouring out into this hallway as things have escalated even further. I will ask if anybody, does anybody want to do anything else other than move through?
Nope.
As we're moving
Nope.
through, can I just look to see, like, we know of those symbols on the rebel
Right.
drow, right?
Right.
So I guess I would just kind of be looking to see if any of them have the tattoo.
Give me a perception check. Nice. Okay. So, as you're walking through, Mary, just as you're creeping by, you can't see your compatriots to the front or the back. You can't hear
Right.
them because everybody is so quiet. And all you can hear is this language that you don't speak being shouted back and forth over you. But as you turn, this one steps forward and raises his hand in like a gesture of aggression at the other, and you see the tattoo on the wrist.
Damn it.
Uh,
Okay.
Now you don't know if that means that his band is all of the tattoo. You don't know. This person might be. You don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But you do recognize the tattoo as you walk by. Like, and it's very close to you as he walks by. You're walking past as he stops, and you just see it clear as day in front of your face, right on the top part of his wrist.
And this was the group that wasn't for tradition, right? This
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
And we like the rebels.
Well,
You
we've liked some
definitely did.
rebels. Yeah. we've liked the rebels.
Nice.
I mean, some of the rebels were the ones that helped us and told us about the tattoo.
So you guys are able to pass through, and you get out of this area. Glad I made this map. I didn't know how I wanted to run it, but you get past the map, and you see branching in front of you a small tunnel to the left, a wider tunnel to the left, and a tunnel to the right.
What? There's supposed to be 5.
That's what you see right out of the gate.
Can we still hear the argument?
Well, and obviously there's still the main tunnel, so I mean there would only be 4, by the way. Yes, you can still hear the argument. In fact, it's escalated now. You hear sort of the sounds of not weapons haven't been drawn, but it sounds like it's not far from that. But you do hear sort of people throwing soft goods at each other just as an embarrassment, like
Can we
To
can we
humiliate.
clarify the passages we see? Because what you just said makes me think maybe we're describing things wrong. There is the path we came from.
Yep.
And that path continues.
Yep.
There is also 2 paths to the left and 1 to the right.
Correct.
Is that so? In total, from this spot, there are 5 ways to leave.
Including going back the way you came.
Yes.
This is what I will say. One of the paths you expect to see, you don't, from where you're at right now. Bear in mind, your map is like drawing something off of an entire square mile.
But we do see 2 paths to the left, so I think we go to not the first one on the left, but the second one on the left, and that's the one that we had discussed going to. And I think the confusion is in the description, not in what the characters would actually see.
Because you aren't. The way I'm trying to put this is like this place you just went in didn't take up an entire square mile, but your map has it taking up an entire square mile. So the tunnels aren't like all coming to the same point in the main tunnel. So
Right. But if the road continues on and there's 2 that go to the left, I think we would understand
you
that
can reasonably
lines up with
infer
what-
that those are the
right?
2 on the left that you think. Yeah.
So
I think I would take. Well, we all have to make our own individual decisions too,
right.
because we can't talk to each other.
Well, we can if we get far enough out, right? Like, if we get out of earshot, we can talk to each other. We're not under a silence spell.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go into that second to the left passage, and I'm going to tap my foot in a way that would be audible to those nearby.
Yeah, I'm heading that direction as well.
Okay.
Because that's
Yep.
my understanding of where we. And if I get a sense that we're far enough, like if it's, I do want to let Elva know because Elva and I were closer together. So maybe in a whisper, kind of let her know that I saw someone with a tattoo on their arm.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to help them, but it does seem like there may be some rebels back there.
I think we help them more by continuing on.
All right, I didn't want to make that decision all on my own. So
I understand your position. I think that we will do them a greater service by not blowing our cover now.
you're right. You're right.
What are Nubin and Elva Vela making the same choice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
Nubin would
likely
have
just
followed
heard our
that.
conversation.
Then they heard it. Yeah, for sure. I don't know where my
Yep.
dragon flagon is.
It's on the shelf in the dining room.
Oh, it went back to its place.
Funny that when you can't find it, look where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't often actually
I usually
expect
never
that.
think of it either, Paul.
Well, things don't frequently go back to where they're supposed to be. I didn't put it back where it was supposed to be. So,
Well, that's true.
okay.
You're lucky. You have someone that comes and puts things back where they're supposed to be.
It's
At
the
your house.
magical fairies.
I wish I had magical fairies. I'm usually
Sometimes
the one
when
that
you
Oh,
doesn't
hold
put it
on,
back.
hold on, Robin. I got to argue with you here on this one because, frankly, it drives me so crazy when things aren't where I put them that it's just absolutely maddening. Like I will have put something away, but that's certainly not where it goes this week. And 3 days, I'm looking for something. Kate's like, "Well, I put it away. It's over there in that cabinet." I'm like, "It doesn't go in that fucking cabinet."
I was just gonna say if you put it back where it's supposed to be, it would. But you each have your own definition of where it lives. I see.
Yes.
That also happens in this house. Okay. So, uh, you, um, you all pull off into the second tunnel to the left. You have this conversation. You decide not to intervene in the dispute happening at the guard chamber, and you are now, uh, you know, 500 feet, a quarter of a mile northwest of the guard chamber. Uh, the tunnel appears well worn, um, heavily utilized. Uh, this is it's not as wide as the primary path that you were on. It's still a primary path. It's still uh, maintained. You have the sense that it's possibly patrolled for some ways, um, but it does feel like it is offshooting. So a slightly smaller, less traveled, but still not abandoned by any means route. And as it still continues to be a a a lit for about 10 feet by lichen, brightly lit. Still about 40 feet wide, and but at this point, the ceiling above you is no longer 30 feet up. It's fallen to about 20 feet.
We're still invisible.
You're still invisible. And Pass Without a Trace didn't drop for anybody, I don't think.
Well, I didn't drop it, so as long as you stayed close enough.
Yep. Sorry, I'm just checking on my tea over and over again. Okay. So, anything? Just continue on.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make good
Keep
use
walking.
of stealthiness, right?
Right. So you take advantage of your stealthiness, which means you're moving at a somewhat slower pace. So after about a mile ahead of you, you hear like squeak, squeak, squeak.
In the upstairs of our house right now, our son is practicing a trumpet that he's never taken lessons in. It sounds remarkably similar to what Paul just said.
That makes me happy. He's getting good at violin. I wish he would just stick with it.
He went to the football game, saw the marching band. He's got hopes and dreams, I think.
Yeah. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hear it now. I walked over by the stairs.
So we hear.
It sounds like a squeaky wheel.
Okay.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah, I was gonna write the word. I'm like taking notes. We hear, and I'm just like, what do I call that? I was gonna say some squeaks, so I guess I was pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
All right.
glad that my gave you at least a little bit of an impression of what it was. But and then the clattering is like, sounds like one of the wheels' metal rim is not completely fastened to the wheel anymore, so as it turns, every once in a while, flap, crack.
It was a bad trolley cart at the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go flat against the wall like Kronk in The Emperor's New Groove.
Okay. You are invisible, so
Do we
no one sees
hear
that.
it ahead of ourselves?
Yes, it's in front of you.
Okay.
Yeah. Gonna keep going.
Yeah.
All right. It seems even moving slowly, you're gaining. And it isn't too long until you can make out a little bit in front of you. Appears to be a donkey pulling a small cart, and on the cart is a halfling. Might be a gnome, big gnome, small halfling, hard to say from this distance, and just a laden cart, and the left wheel is squeaking and looks like if something doesn't happen soon, he's going to be down a wheel. But, oh, and as you get a little closer, you hear sort of this whistling, like a
Your mic
nervous.
cut you out.
Oh, did it? It's like a nervous whistling,
Yeah.
like the.
Does he have a tattoo?
You can't even make out exactly whether or not it's a gnome or a halfling yet, so you can't see that.
How long has it been since our invisibility?
You probably got 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's an hour, right? That's an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Invisibility.
Yep.
Yep. Oh yeah, about 15 minutes.
As we, I'm gonna keep moving then, and if, well, I'll wait to hear what we find out when we get there.
Yeah. If is everything covered on the cart? Like as we get closer, can we see what?
As you get closer, because you are gaining on this slow-moving donkey who's pulling a not really great cart. You gain on it. It is covered in like quilts. Whatever is underneath it is covered in quilts. They various like stages of decay on these quilts. Some of which look like they're in pretty good shape. Some of which look like they're mostly thread with an occasional stitch holding them together. Uh, and it looks like a series of crates of various sizes. And every once in a while, the wheel being out of alignment and flapping makes everything jostle, and you hear the sound of metal clanging on metal, but it doesn't sound like coins. You get just a ka-chunk, like when you have a box of if you've ever carried around like a box of like metal hardware and then it just shakes in the box and everything just like or the sound of a utensil drawer being shut. You know, so that's what you hear, and then after that bump, you whew, oh, that was a big bump. Nervous look, nervous look.
Can someone insight check a whistle to see if it's just like oh, like the sense of like I'm doing something I shouldn't versus I'm doing something that's scary?
Sure. Give me an insight check.
No, not Mary, but someone
No.
might be able to.
No, but I mean, clearly there's a nerve, whether or not it's nerves to
Right.
malfeasance or nerve to I'm scared, un,
Right.
indeterminate. So, um, you guys will be able to pass him on the left. If you wish. You have like 15 so minutes.
Bill? Man, I thought we were gonna have less time than that by the time we got here. I would like to know if I can tell if, well, yes, I sort of guess it's insight, but I'm trying to figure out if he's rebellious.
You can. I mean, you're gonna have to get closer to the passing lane kind of version to get any like, because you know that the tattoos on the back of the wrist,
Mm-hmm.
so you'd have to get a little
Yeah.
closer. But as you're getting
Okay.
closer, you are relatively certain now that this is a very large gnome. Not very large, but large gnome, like halfling-sized gnome.
Like a half giant gnome.
Well,
That had
I
to be
mean,
uncomfortable
a
for someone.
halflings are like 3.5 feet, and gnomes are like 2.5 feet. So,
Oh, I
Oh,
thought
so
they
it's
were the
like
other way around.
oh, you thought
a
halflings
half
were shorter
gnome.
than gnomes?
Yeah.
Oh, I was always under the impression gnomes were smaller than halflings.
Anyway,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is an abnormally large gnome.
Yep. D&D now.
Um,
Huh.
Okay, well,
Yeah, no, you're right. In
what?
5e, they're bigger, but this person wrote, "This is not how I have ever understood this in literature." And I'm like, "Same. Gnomes are smaller." And okay, but yep, in D&D, they're the other way around. Halflings are smaller than gnomes. That bothers me. Really bothers me. What do you need? I'm playing a game.
He's got to mute.
Gnomes would be in the garden, actually, so it's probably not known.
Oh, we've 13 to 14 minutes left on invisibility. It's a gnome. He looks unsure of his of himself. He does not look like evil or like he's trying to work. He looks like he's trying to get something by the drow. So,
Or into like That's the thing.
Uh-huh.
He could be smuggling into for rebels or just for the
Right.
traditionalists.
Oh. Okay. How close am I? I want to get up there and see. What's he doing?
What's he
DM.
what's he doing?
I want to try and see if he's got a
Oh.
tattoo.
Okay. Well, give me a perception check for that.
And I'd like to know like how much time is left by the time I get to that part.
We're talking like increments of like half minutes and minutes here. So, you're still over 10 minutes.
Poop.
Um,
Is it not on investigation if I'm like searching for something specific?
if you want, but a 15 is good enough. So, uh, okay.
I want to know for sure.
No.
I see it and then I look harder.
Yeah, and you look harder because there was a birthmark there, but it's no tattoo.
Ugh.
You also are not certain if the tattoos are only for Drow who are trying to identify with other Drow and differentiate from other Drow, and whether or not a gnome would even
I
have
know what I
it.
could do. In his head, I'm going to say, "Hello. Don't be afraid. I'm not with the Drow. Just wondering, would you like that squeaky wheels be less squeaky?" And nobody else in the party can tell that I'm doing it because it's all telepathic, and it's not a spell, so I don't lose invisibility.
He screams loudly, and then starts to whimper because he realizes he's made an extraordinarily loud noise. And he looks around. Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? And he pulls out of his tunic a hand crossbow, and he's just waving it around.
I'm not trying
and
to
he
hurt
grabs
you.
Brayburn, and then he says,
He grabs Brayburn.
"That's his donkey," and he's gonna say, "Brayburn," and he pulls himself back up onto the cart, and faster, faster, and he tries to get the cart to go faster.
In his head, he hears, "I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help you sneak past the Drow." Never mind.
La 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 la.
Okay, bye. He's not paying attention to us anymore.
Well, he can't go much faster than you, though, so you're either going to have to get past him at some point, or... But he keeps looking over his shoulder at this point, like, to see if anything's following him, or because of the noise. Now he's nervous. Because one thing you've noticed is, other than that person, you don't hear anything. Nothing makes a noise down here.
Okay. In his head again. Okay. I'm about to do something to make your cart be quiet because I don't want the Drow to hear me either. Do not scream and do not shoot me. Clear?
No response.
I'm attempting to persuade him.
In your head, you're hearing a whimper. Terrified.
He can't reply back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. What are you doing?
All right. I'm going to lean forward. I'm going to try and find the squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
Can I identify it from the others?
Yeah, it's very clear what's going on here.
Okay, I'm going to reach forward. I'm going to put my hand, just touch the middle of the hub of the axle so that it's not
So you're
and then I'm going to...
Like you're juking along as it's rolling because it's not standing still. He's moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just walking along with it, and I'm going to touch it, breathe very quickly, and I'm going to cast Mending and lose my invisibility.
Okay. As the cart gets mended and you go invisible, he fires. He'll be at disadvantage because he didn't know you were there. So
I was also ducking, and it's a ranged weapon, so that oh yeah, that's double disadvantage, which doesn't stack.
Yeah.
Bummer.
This is not how I want this to roll. How do I type in disadvantage? Roll 1d20.
This is down at the bottom.
Keep lower, right? Keep
It's
lower.
right. It's right
I
at the
think
bottom. There's a little
AI does
button next
keep
to the
lower,
roll.
but-
Yeah, I can.
Just push the button. Push the button.
Oh, apparently I'm robes for this.
You're highlighted.
I
As
had
well.
highlighted robes. It misses. But the rest of you see Vela appear at the side of the cart. The cart is still moving. He just kind of stands up and, triple disadvantage because he's moving. He just sees you appear, shoots his arrow wildly, and Braver, get us out of here. There's a ghost.
Told you not to shoot me. And then I'm just gonna walk right behind his cart. Okay. You can you can keep worrying about me. There's probably nothing to worry about anymore because you don't have a squeaky noise. And while I'm standing at the back of the cart, I'm gonna be like this to the party, like telling them to get past me. Go around.
What do you guys do?
Go around.
Okay.
How big are the crates on the wagon, on the cart?
Most of them are, varying in size between one. Well, I mean it's 3-dimensional, like 1 by 2 by 2 kind of thing, like a rectangular package, 1 foot wide, 1 foot tall, 2 feet long, and then there's a couple that are 2 by 2 by 2, and there's
So
7 of them.
is it possible as I'm going by to knock one off?
Sure.
I want to know what this guy's transporting.
So it's a cart. It's got it's possible. I just want to describe what you see, so you tell me how you want to attempt it. The rear is open, so there's no tailgate like to it kind of thing, but there are side walls, and then he's got a couple ropes going over the quilts, but due to his crazy squeaky broken cart over the last several miles, a lot of it's come loose, and so there's at least one that you think you could pull out if you wanted to.
Pull out the back or pull out the side?
You can't. Well, the side would be
open.
hard. The back's open. The side's.
That's why I wanted to clarify, because I'm standing at the back. Which is fine, I can move. I'll feel a hand tap me.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to knock it down to see if it would maybe open if it fell,
Sure.
just to see what's inside. I don't want to be like bumping into Vela, so if it's a cart that's only one person wide, then forget it. But if there's a way for me to, as I'm walking by.
I think you would, not knowing what you want to do. I'll just, in my head, see what I would do. Would be kind of move. You can see Vela is
Right.
invisibly move on the other side of Vela and tap from the side of the cart, reaching in between the slats of this. Because I said walls, but it's split rail kind of thing. You could sort of put your hand and pull it as the cart's moving forward. The box will keep going back farther.
Yeah.
And so then it tips. There's a slight bit of sound. It's only 2 feet long, so there's a slight bit of and he looks back and just in time to see it fall to the ground. Boom, 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 and the lid opens up and metal sprockets and the leaf springs and things that look almost slightly like tiny little trebuchets, but all metal, and every one of them labeled. Like they have little colorful pieces of paper, that say in common, like A1 slot B.
The IKEA delivery man. I'm gonna turn around. Good gracious, man. Load your cart better. And try to lift it up and shove it back on
But
before
you
he can
gotta
shoot me
pick all
again.
the sprockets up into the.
Do they fall out?
Yeah, a little
I'm
bit.
gonna pick up a couple and pocket them.
Invisible?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I'll keep him distracted as I see some of them floating.
Well, once they become my possession,
They
right?
go
Then
invisible.
Right.
Yeah.
they go invisible. So I'm gonna remove. So the IKEA is missing a few parts.
Okay.
Shocking.
You have some sprockets and
That never
and
happened.
a leaf spring and one little tiny trebuchet.
Okay.
The trebuchets are not too tiny; they're like 6 inches. It's a.
So cute.
There's no reason. Like I'm only telling you this for flavor. Like it's about 8 pounds of metal. You know, as a furbo, you have no
trebuchet?
trouble with any of that. But also, it's just this is all solid cast metal, like iron.
So I probably can't even lift the box.
It's heavy.
I'm going to attempt to lift it back onto the cart.
Okay.
Come on, man. Get this back up there.
Just because you brought it up, I mean, if you take your time, you're going to be able to lift it.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to lift it back up, and then I'm going to throw little bits and things back into it, as many as I can.
and he's just eyeballing you with the. What did? Okay, I want him to sound like Augustus Gloop from.
Augustus?
Uh,
Augustus?
I lost chocolate. I, but I don't do a very good, like, squeaky Bavarian German accent. But that's that's him, you know.
I like him.
So who are you then who are helping me?
I'm somebody else who doesn't want to be heard. Ping, 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 ping.
No, in my head you see Drow, but there are many scary things.
Well, what else is scary?
Purple worms, worms, uh, purple worms, and unkegs, and the, there are things that eat your brain. You don't want to attract attention down here, especially if you couldn't afford guards.
Oh, do you need a guard? I'll help you out.
But I'm
Let's
not
go.
sure I
Move
trust you. You talked in my head and scared the shit out of me. Like, seriously, I need another pair of pants.
That's
I'm
not my
gonna go
fault.
into one of the boxes and start looking for some trousers out of his.
You have clothes in there?
It's a 6-week journey.
Where are you going?
I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't look.
Sorry.
He goes behind Brayburn, and I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
But
Well, then I guess I won't guard you. I'll see you later. And I start running away.
okay, wait. I'm going northwest.
For 6 weeks?
Well, I've already been traveling for 5.5.
Oh, so just a week more.
3 days, I hope.
Where are you going?
I am going to a secret place that I am not at liberty to share with you its name.
Okay. Well, can I catch a ride on your cart while we're going the same direction? I'll
Brayburn gives you a look like hell no.
Okay. Well, I'll just walk next to Brayburn for a little while. And yeah, as long as we keep moving, I'm good to hang out for a little while. If you know your way to the northwest. so that I don't take a dead end.
Well, you head northwest, and that's how you get there. But I would be happy to have another set of eyes for as long as we can travel together. Just so long as I can trust you, right? There no more secrets, no more surprises.
Well, there will be another surprise in about 10 minutes.
What is that?
But nothing harmful.
What does that mean?
Well, if I tell you, it won't be a surprise.
How am I? He starts wavering the gun at you again. He's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this to me?"
Okay, I'll just go. It's nice meeting you.
Okay.
What's your name? Augustus?
No.
What?
No. It's not Augustus.
All right, Augustus. My name's Vela. It's nice to meet you. May Dalt be with you.
It was not nice to meet you at all. You're very, very scary.
Okay. Well, it was nice to meet you, Brayburn.
Yeah, you go on ahead. I'll follow you.
Okay. Please don't shoot me. Thank you. Bye. No.
After hearing that exchange, Newbin just whispers from behind the guy, "You think she's scary?"
And then he clutches his mouth, and now I need another D12 because there have been 2 loud noises in this hall.
Man. That's you, Tony. You get the D12. You made the second scream. Nothing. You must be rolling from D&D Beyond. It must be broken.
7. Okay. Quiet. And if you let him pass, he will. Or no, he's going to stay behind you. So you guys can all walk past him if
Yep.
you want.
Yep. I'm already up front. I was petting Brayburn as I walked away.
Okay. Brayburn does not seem bothered by you at all. But
I like Brayburn.
not like the idea of you catching a ride on the already heavy cart.
Fair enough.
So, you guys move on past, and he will be probably for the next several miles, like, falling behind you, because he's moving so much slower than you are. But you'll know he's back there.
But not squeaking.
He's not squeaking, and so, you know, he feels good about that. Okay. What do you guys? You guys continue to walk on. It's 7 miles along, and then the path.
Kids, anybody else having Paul cut out? Like your mic is in a weird spot or something. It's got a weird robot-y kind of.
Christine did. I
almost
hadn't
like
noticed
it's
it before.
switched. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just now?
Give it a go. There we go.
Now I can
That's
hear you.
better.
Okay.
Much better. Much better. Yeah, I think it was just the placement of your mic.
Okay. As 7 miles, pass quietly. Now you guys can have talked about anything you want. I don't want to cut off any conversation, but I am going to say I'm not going to do rolls every mile here and just boring dice rolls. But
I would like to investigate the trebuchet with Mary.
Oh. You know I took it?
you don't know. I know you.
Oh, I
you
don't? Can I?
Yeah, you did a whole thing like, I'll cover for you, but how would you know she was invisible? She didn't say anything, and they became invisible.
Well,
as soon
a
as she touched
trebuchet
it.
disappeared off the.
Yeah,
Trebuchet's disappeared off
but
the
you
ground behind
you
me.
were talking to
But-
him.
Oh, I suppose I don't know that it's Mary. That it could
You
be there.
wouldn't know anything
Okay.
about it
Well, that's,
unless you were looking for it.
I mean, I probably would tell the group. I don't know if this was the right thing to do or not, but I took a few of those things. I wasn't sure if he was bringing them for the bad guys or the good guys, so I don't know if it was the right thing to do. I thought he might have been transporting weapons, but it was just a bunch of this stuff, and I'll show the stuff I picked up.
Well, that's a weapon.
It may be.
Well, it's a toy weapon.
Oh, so I stole toys from.
We'll be well equipped for the toy wars.
Maybe. Or maybe there's something really tiny that we have to kill with trebuchets, and it's the only way to kill them.
Seems very likely.
I thought so.
I just thought if it was going to the bad guys, maybe this will slow it down a little bit. They're missing some pieces. But
Hopefully
then I
that means...
thought, what if it's for the good guys and now I've messed them up? I don't know. I'm not very good at espionage things. This is
We just took away the pride of this guy's Warhammer army.
That's funny.
Well, I mean, you're better at it than I am. I couldn't handle the squeaky wheel, and I just had to fix it. And so, I mean, it's not like I did a whole lot of clean spying without getting caught either. I made it through. I didn't die. I didn't get shot. Sort of, barely. But, I think you may have the espionage thing better than me. You just took them.
well, I took it, but I don't know if it was like who I was helping or hurting. So that's the problem.
Right. How far away is the guy? Can we still see him?
No, not. Well, I don't know. When you having this conversation?
Well, I wouldn't have brought it up until
Yeah,
I
until he
on
was out of earshot and out of eyeshot. Yeah,
I
he'd
think
say
I
Okay.
would
no.
be like, hey, I took his stuff.
Yeah, no, I kind of assumed you were waiting until he was far enough behind where you couldn't see him
Right.
anymore and he couldn't see you. So that would be my assumption is no, you cannot see him.
Anybody think they can make use of this? I mean, otherwise I'll just. It's kind of heavy. I can hold on to it.
I can't
Well.
think of a way to use it.
Maybe we can mount it on Katha.
I think it's too big for Kotha.
Oh, probably.
An 8-pound trebuchet flying around on a mini dragon. I love it.
Oh well, I'll hold on to it. If it turns out it's for the good guys and they need it, we can just say we found it on our way here. Which isn't entirely untrue. I did find it after
It does seem like
it fell out.
a miniature trebuchet could be really helpful if you could then enlarge it. You could transport it to the battlefield in a small size and then enlarge it.
Yeah,
I don't have that ability, but I'm familiar with the spell.
that would be helpful. It would take a lot less energy. You can transport it with one Brayburn versus, a whole army.
Right.
Oh.
We may have just prevented a siege.
Well, partial siege, like
Or a
little-
very tiny siege.
Huh.
It does seem like, Vela, one thing that your conversation accomplished, it confirmed we better be kind of quiet so we don't attract the attention of creatures that might attack. Your friend who did not, you called him Augustus, he seemed rather afraid of specific creatures.
Yeah. It makes me think we may end up having some things in here that we weren't necessarily expecting to find.
Right. I do have, if we ever need it, I have an ability to, kind of commune with nature a little bit, see what might be around. It gives me a little bit of a range. Like I can kind of just get a sense of what's about like 3 miles around it. But in underground settings, it's a lot harder. So, more like 300 feet. But I could find like bodies of water, people, plants, buildings, things like that. Just kind of know what might be in the area. But yeah, it's limited in this environment, so
That's a fun thing.
yeah,
That's
it's a
useful to
commune
know.
with nature spell.
Um.
It's
So
a ritual spell too, so
Oh, so you don't have to burn a slot. Um, I am picturing you guys having this conversation after like it's 6 miles, and so like you've made sure you're eventually actually you all go visible. So hopefully you moved. You didn't just appear in front of him. But he deliberately seemed to have slowed down and wanting to not be any like make sure Vela was out of sight uh, before he continued on. So moving at a stealthy speed, which you might not be doing anymore when the invisibility drops, it would still take. Uh, I think I think it's 22 miles in a day is what you can move without rushing, and so
That's right. Yeah.
to go 6 miles is a third of a walking day, which they basically call that 10 hours. So like 2 to 3 hours have passed now. Uh, when you get to where the tunnel it just seems to no longer like it goes from heavily like carved in places, shored up and widened, and it drastically reduces from 40 feet across to 15. Uh, and the lichen on the wall is sort of patchier and it's darker, but there is no other way forward. Um, so you could, I mean, without doubling back into the darker tunnel.
This is reassuring. This means we're probably on the right path.
It was the path that we wanted to go on, so whether it's the
Whether
right
it's
one
right.
remains to be seen.
That's fair.
We
All right.
found the path we intended to find.
That's right.
All right. Who would like to roll the D10?
I'll do it.
Okie doke. All right. Uh, Relatively peaceful this first mile. There's occasionally you still see the signs of travel, like um, in fact, at one point you see a wagon wheel on the side of the road. It's broken. Perhaps it's having a busted wheel is traveling through these caves is maybe not that uncommon. Um, and uh, there's occasional like holes in the side of the wall. As you walk by, you see burrowed out, broken holes where like an eruption of rock and stone, and then a hole easily avoided, no danger to you. But if you look down, it seems to go down a ways. Uh, you, I don't, yeah, you all would have seen boulettes. I know two of you definitely went hunting boulettes, but that was very early in our game. Uh,
I think that is immediately. Elva would be the only one that wasn't there for that because I think
I think
I
that
was
was your
there.
one of your first games.
That was my first game. Hmm.
So this appears to be a.
But we've fought them since I joined, so
That's right. In
we'd
in
be
this
familiar with them.
in the city, yeah. So
Oh yeah.
this is a boulette hole that you walk past. Um, Not repaired, just left. See occasional claw marks on the wall, in the sense that every once in a while now it's quiet. Every once in a great while you hear skittering and a pebble fall, kind of thing. And it's unnerving because it has been so quiet. But nothing occurs. After 2 miles of walking, you are starting to keep your eyes open for your side path. And as you get into the side, into the area where it is, there's not necessarily, it's not confusing, but you get the idea of this map really is quite good, uh, in that there are other things that might have been a path, but you look down them and 5 feet later they just end. And so it's good. It's good on Mary's sense of how far you've traveled, that it looks accurate on the scale, because there were other paths it might have been. Now, the scale being, of course, it's 1 mile to these, so it can't be incredibly accurate, as we know from the past there, but it's pretty good. And eventually you find 10 foot by 10 foot hole leading off
In the path?
to the north.
Oh, it was like in the floor.
No,
We have to
the side
find
of
a way to cross it.
in the side of the wall. And it appears
Does
to
it look
it's,
like
it's a fork in
carts
the road.
can fit?
No, absolutely not. There are no carts going through here.
Seems like this may be the way to go. It definitely a departure in type of cavern, which would match the markings on the map somehow.
Well, and the older direction that I'm carrying is saying north is this way, so. And I say that intentionally vague because I never have any idea how the maps are actually aligned, but if I know what direction north is.
Nicely done.
Okay. So, uh, you guys begin traveling down this path. Now, every so often, this narrows, and you're compressed in these 5 foot chambers that are 5 foot wide. For some of you, that's easy. For others of you, shoulders feel like you might be brushing. Armor might get
No
in the.
body shaming.
No, I'm talking
Come
about
on
armor.
now.
I'm talking about armor. If you're not wearing any armor, it's probably not going to be a problem. But if you've got pauldrons on, uh, you might have some trouble carrying a shield. A little rough. But uh, you, if you're over 5 feet tall, and so uh, weaving and wobbling through here, I will ask you all for a perception check. Okay. Elva, it's. Oh, and Vela. Uh, it starts with uh, just this slightest humming, quick but light vibration on the floor. Seems to be coming from the east, but it's hitting the floor. If you reach out and you touch the wall, you can feel the same vibration on the east wall. The west wall, it's lessened, but it's growing.
At
Hold
this
still,
point,
something's
is
coming
our.
this direction.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Ed. I was just trying to see if our token is where we are or not.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is not. Sorry.
Okay.
You're here.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, what were you saying, Ed?
I was just alerting the group that something is coming and we should hold still.
Okay.
It may be. It's causing a vibration in the floor and the walls, and it makes me think that perhaps it could be a tunneling creature that might sense movement.
Everybody goes quiet. The vibrations pick up. You don't need to have a high perception now. You're all thrumming. There's rocks falling. The whole tunnel appears to be shaking quite a bit, but the power of it feels to be underneath your feet. I would like everybody to make a dex check to remain on your feet as the entire thing heaves. There's rocks falling down. You have to do a little bit of dodging.
This is a save.
Yeah, dex save. 10, 25. All right, everybody maintains their feet, although Elva and Vela do look a little close as the entire ground heaves and you're all compressed up against the ceiling of it, which itself is cracking and crumbling. You're now in a 4-foot tall ceiling or hallway as the ground beneath you has heaved, it's cracked, and you're crunched up as it seems like something has passed underneath you, has disrupted this tunnel. But you remained quiet. Nobody fell, nobody made any noises, and it passed through. But you're gonna have to, shimmy down the hallway, climb,
Crawl.
yeah, yeah, crawl out of this and get back down to where it's a 10-foot tall tunnel.
I before we move, I'm realizing that we went through a threshold, a pretty obvious threshold, and I wanted to. I'm considering maybe going back to it, so that I can hallow that space. Not hallow it, but dedicate it to Dalt as a threshold space, and designate it maybe as a sanctuary, so that later, if we need to run back out of this tunnel.
You're now on 6 hours back.
6 hours back to where we came into this 10-foot hole?
Oh, that threshold. Okay, I thought you were talking about the guard post that I had described as
the
beginning of a...
No.
Okay.
No.
Just the transition between the other cavern and this
the
one.
Tertiary and
Yeah.
the secondary.
This type of tunnel.
Gotcha.
Right.
No, yeah, that's... If you crawl back through that way, that's just probably only a half hour back.
Okay. I'm gonna... I know it's taking up time, but I feel like it's a good use of time now for future versions of us who may need to escape later.
Does seem like a good place to retreat to, rather than these tunnels, right? Kind of bypass.
I think that is fine, and I don't know that we're on that tight of a timetable.
Okay. Sorry for not thinking of it. So I'm gonna go back, and when I get there, I'm going to first take out the clay from my component pouch, and I'm going to shape it into the same shape as my spiritual weapon, so that scythe key thing. And then I'm going to cast Stone Shape on the door frame, like with the opening into this entrance area, and my Stone Shape will create sort of a threshold where there's the scythe is over the top of the door, and then the threshold side looks like a key on the side of the wall there, so that it is very clearly Dalt focused space. So that anybody who knows Dalt would know, hopefully, that this is adult space. So that's step one, and then step two.
Stone shape is like. Is that how long? That takes some time.
An action.
An action.
It's an action for how much? How much stone can you change?
5 feet in any dimension.
Oh, in one action? Okay.
Yep, and I can create a door with up to 2 hinges and a latch, so I assume what I'm doing is pretty okay. And then after I've done that, I'm going to cast Word of Recall, and uh, and use it to designate this space as a sanctuary. And I'm going to invite the group into prayer. And
I think you have to cast either ceremony or sanctuary in order to make a sanctuary.
you must designate a sanctuary by casting the spell within a location dedicated to or strongly linked to your deity.
Yeah, but I think there's a spell that links something to your deity. Like, I think there's a mechanic for that.
I thought we talked about this last time, because hallow is an option, but it doesn't say that the ground has to be hallowed. It says you have to have captured or have sanctified the space using the Word of Recall spell. Ceremony. Ceremony gives me atonement, blessing of water, coming of age, dedicating a humanoid to my god's service, funeral rite, and wedding.
Oh, okay. I really thought there was a spell that makes a place.
That's what
dedicated.
There's a spell called Sanctuary, but it's not.
That's
this
different.
Sanctuary doesn't do anything for space.
It doesn't. It's
right.
Yeah. Good.
The only thing that might do it is hallow, which makes it holy ground. But But it sounds to me like Word of Recall itself creates a holy space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As long as so I mean it really is still sort of a DM call, because the language is you must designate a sanctuary by casting Word of Recall within the location, such as a temple, dedicated to or strongly linked to your deity.
Now, I like the creativity. I just didn't want to short circuit a rule, so I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
I just, if there was a rule that we were like, there was a spell that should have been used because it actually is for that.
Well, I think they make it like they make you use Word of Recall because Word of Recall is a 6th level spell.
Right.
And so they make you use like a lot of energy to turn it into a sanctuary.
Right.
Because otherwise everything else that we're talking about are lower level spells that
this lets you zap to it, right?
Well,
yeah.
I mean, this does say if you attempt to cast the spell in an area that isn't dedicated to your deity, but you just did the stone shape to dedicate the space to your deity.
Right.
It says dedicate and also strongly linked, and the what was compelling to me is you went back and found a threshold, and he's the god of doors and secrets, and so.
Mm-hmm.
And then you dedicated it to him with your.
I'm all good. I'm all good. I just like I said, I wasn't sure there wasn't a dedicate spell like a.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So no,
I went hunting. I didn't see one. So.
I think it's a creative use. So cool. All right.
Yeah.
And that takes one action as well. Good lord. Well, 6th level spell.
I know.
Though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all right. So a minute later, you've created a dedicated space to your god. Less than a minute. It took 12 seconds.
Yeah. I know that took forever. I really appreciate you all.
Okay. So there's now a dedicated shrine, basically, to Dalt here in the Underdark. All right. So.
Moving on.
And basically, this you and up to 5 willing creatures within 5 feet you instantly teleport to a precinct. Cool.
Yeah. So when we come back, we'd basically be within that door frame or just inside the tunnel. Because the door frame isn't quite wide enough for us all to fit.
Gotcha.
But
okay. Cool. I am actually going to.
While you're doing that, Mary, do you think that maybe when we get back to the spot where those tunnels all weird, that we should shape it so we can fit through? Or should we not? Because now we can teleport back to that spot and it would be harder for somebody else to get through.
I mean, 4 feet is still enough for us to get through, and maybe we don't disturb whatever burrow beneath.
Oh, that's a good point.
I think the quieter and less disruptive we can be, the better. If we don't want
Right.
to attract attention.
Right.
I don't
Adult.
mind crawling a little if that's what it takes.
You know, I
Okay.
did all that, and then I realized I have a typing function.
But it's funnier this way.
I just drew a little map and wrote "Word of Recall Shrine."
Okay.
So how long did it take us to get here?
From the beginning, like
Upon
again, this is like
from where we left the dimensional whatever.
It said half an hour, so I don't know.
No, I mean from the very beginning when we started today.
oh,
Like how long have we been
you're-
walking? 10 hours?
a little less actually, probably more like 7 or 8.
I just kind of want to know, like, if we get teleported back, how much more time do we have to walk to get out of the tunnels?
Okay.
That's all.
So, you guys walk back into the area where you were at, crawl through the place that was disrupted by the large creature that moved underneath you, and you come out of this. Well, I'm not going to say that. You guys reach a point where you see another hole in front of you, uh, and uh, it appears that on this side, like there's some finish work happening. The holes being sort of mason, like braced with masonry work, as if this hole might become a permanent fixture instead of getting filled up. But you do, as you peek out, you see and hear a wagon train, basically. You can hear the sound of many horses, many carts, uh, and just like these are not like Brayburn and the hand cart. This is somebody traveling down the main thoroughfare here because you're looking again at a 40-foot wide tunnel. Looking at it from far away, I'm not saying you guys are in the opening or anything, but you can see as you get there, like coming around the corner, and not this corner because that's like a mile, but like uh, looking around a corner, peeking out, you can actually hear the sound of several drow issuing orders, and like I said, the sound of many, many horses pulling many, many carts, drovers moving goods. And it's almost like you got here at the beginning of the train because you can hear more coming. It's maybe somewhere beyond 20 carts in this train moving through here.
Too bad we don't have a cart. I could be a horse and we could just kind of join the train.
I mean, we know someone with a cart. We could turn around.
We know someone with a cart who wants nothing to do with us.
Right. He's way back there now. So.
Yeah. Maybe keep our eyes open for a cart.
Though, if there's a caravan moving carts, there's likely lots of people walking as well. Perhaps we can find a crowd to blend into. If they're not all drow, that is.
Oh, right. Good point.
Are you able to, like, are you guys peeking out and looking, or are you pulled back away from where you can see?
Is this way up?
Staying back
Are
a
we
bit
way up
right
at the
now,
top?
but
Is our token way up
Yeah,
at the
I'm
top at this
sorry.
point?
I'm sorry. I keep forgetting about
Okay.
You guys are like right here,
Okay.
and you're
I just
looking
wanted to
out.
make sure
You're
that
looking out where
what I thought you were
this tertiary tunnel enters a main tunnel. And what I was giving you with the sort of bracing was the idea that maybe they're going to improve this tunnel at some point because they're bracing up and solidifying the main, the hole coming off of the, instead of filling it up. They're thinking they may use it. It looks like. And so you have plenty of places, like there's still mostly cavern area, and you have plenty of places to hide behind and peek and watch, and you're slightly up too, like a couple feet. There's a small like stair step to get up there, so you are, you know, got a little bit of height. But not like, it's not like you're looking way down on them, like you're maybe a foot or two above. Um, and so you can avoid, detection and see. And one of the things, if you do peek around, just to get an idea of what's happening, uh, there are Drow, but there are also a large contingent of humans. You see a number of dwarves in this party, and it seems almost like familial groups. So like a family of humans in this train, and they've got like their colors, their livery, sort of not noble livery, but like their merchant logoing, their branding, if you will, on it, and they have guards, like perhaps human guards, or perhaps it's well, it they're surface dwellers, is what I'm saying. Not Drow, not Illithid, not these are humans and dwarves, and they all have their own little. It's like the the it's like this train got assembled, not together, but once they got here, they were put into a wagon train to move the rest of the way through. Like you can tell, like the beginnings of these journeys weren't the same start, right? Like they got here, got put into a wagon train, and moved through. And so the conductors of the wagon train are the Drow. But there are different groups of merchants in this train. Does that make sense? Am I painting the picture in a way that hopefully we're having a joint
Yeah, like they all
understanding?
got to the border of wherever it was they wanted to go, and somebody there with a clipboard walked around and said, you, get in this spot, you're all going together. And then the caravan leader's a Drow.
Precisely so.
Well, it's enough people that don't appear to really know each other all that well that we might be able to blend in.
Especially if we
think?
try to look a little more like each other. We're very different from each other.
Yeah. Phil looks at us.
It looks like a
We
lot
can
of
also
merchants.
simply hide among them.
Well, I think we have to be like in a group. I don't know if we can individually hide among them because I think they would notice. I think Mary's right. We have to figure out a way to look like a family.
I don't think we can pretend to be a family group. The family groups that are in there are already assigned. I think we have to look like we're just people who might belong to any of the other groups. And so each family sees us as just another traveler. I think if we try to be another family group, then there's a different number than they started with.
So maybe
A different
try
number
to
of family.
figure
I think
out.
we just move in and try not to draw attention and just move with them. I think we're overthinking it if we're talking about trying to look like a family group and trying to be another group in the caravan. I think we just need to be people.
Okay.
And I think Newbin's right. We keep our hoods up and we try to look unobtrusive.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'm going to travel as an animal because I don't feel very unobtrusive. I don't see too many Furbolg families down there at all. So, and I kind of stand out with my size.
You do that to ropes?
I could turn him into an animal, you're asking?
Well, he looks pretty. I mean, him and Newbin are kind of stand out outy.
I mean, I could turn him into a literal animal for an hour, but I don't know what he would do. Like when I turn into an animal, I retain my senses,
Oh.
and when I turn other people into animals,
They become
they
animals.
become an animal.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't know. I mean, I
Got
could
it. Okay. Well,
The other option is we just sit and wait,
mhm.
and when this whole wagon train is passed, we make our way out. But there's
I
a lot
think
of them.
my vote would depend on how they're traveling. Like if it's like a everyone's staying really close knit with each other, spread out enough that it would be really obvious if someone else joined, like just even walking alongside. But if it's sort of like I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say, but like if there are people kind of milling in between, or if it's close enough that they're traveling that you can't tell who's always part of what group, I think your suggestion would make more sense. If it's like,
Alternatively, we do know that Erelhai Kinlu is simply a big city, and we could just not try to make it a secret at all, and just ask these people if they mind if we share the road with them a while. Strength in numbers, everyone's safer. We're traveling to the city just like everyone else.
do we know if we need permission to travel?
No?
well, there were the checkpoints, which
Mhm.
maybe is, if that permission is given, where it's given. I don't know.
How long does this caravan look like it's gonna last? Like, are we talking and it's ending? Or is
No,
there a big long
actually,
line of it?
the problem is that it's actually slowing down. Uh, you're looking at the map, looking where this map says the tunnel is. You're 3 miles southeast of this major area. Uh, this next blockade point on your map. Uh,
Mhm.
and so uh, the the thing is that this wagon train looks like it's with the 20 families, some of them having a couple of carts. It's close to 40 actual pack animals plus guards plus, and so it's the train appears to be almost a mile long itself. Looking in, you're guessing because it even goes around curves you can't tell, and it's moving extraordinarily slow. People are sort of walking almost at a leisurely pace.
I think we're less memorable if we try to just walk, if we just go out and walk with it rather than try to hide or try to be something we're not. If we're just travelers, there's no reason for any of these people to remember us at all.
Especially if we're not going out as a group of travelers, if it's individual travelers.
Okay. Are there only horses and goats that are in the crew as far as animals or whatever? Maybe not horses or goats. I don't know.
Well, there's
What
horses
sort of
and
pack
goats.
animals are there?
Donkeys, horses. Donkeys are slightly more common. Um, they are a little less skittish being underground. Um,
Mm.
and occasionally you see a goat, but no oxen or anything like that. And some of the carts you see are pulled by humanoids, um, who do not appear to be loving their job.
Okay, I'll follow your lead, Elva.
I'm just gonna walk out.
Okay. Just all right. As you just walk out, you got to take a couple steps down, and as you're walking out, there's a group of there looks mostly human. You see some. I wouldn't say you'd be. I mean, you can give me a history check if you want, but you know, when you were in, I kind of see you not wanting to give me one when I tell you what, because of Elva's background. But you've seen things that look like this in Keeland, when you guys were in Neil Draw, the capital. Uh, this is probably a Keo-ish merchant company, uh, and they sort of startle as you walk down. Oh, bloody hell, where did you come from?
Oh, just down the road.
Oh, trying to get the head of
Making
the
better
line, eh?
time than these carts. They're slowing down.
Yeah, no, that's true. You don't have a cart yourself, then you just traveling light, huh?
Right, just heading to the city.
Oh, all right, well, good enough. Never scared the hell out of me. Came out of nowhere, she did, yeah.
I'm going to suggest
Everything you said was
Robespierre.
true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, it was a little shady about just down the road, but
Right. I'm sorry, Robin. What do you?
I'm sorry. No, you can continue. I was going to say what I did next, but
Oh
if
no,
you guys are
ready?
still
No,
resolving that,
we're not still resolving it. I was considering whether or not a persuasion, but there was nothing in there. Like he just was startled, and he does not give a shit. He's not a guard, so uh, that might not always be the case. So, but what does Mary want to do?
I was going to suggest that Robespierre puts like a cloak on or something
Hmm.
to hide some of the snakiness if we haven't seen Yuan Ti around, and he could ride. I'll be a draft horse, and he could
Okay,
ride the horse.
okay.
So then, if he does get caught, he's not by himself.
Are you turning
You know what
into
I
a
mean?
draft horse? I want to paint the picture here, just so that uh, you'd be a draft horse coming out of the hole in the wall.
Well, I think what I would want to do is look for like any sort of a gap.
Okay,
Look for a good time to get out, not just like, oh, here's two people looking
right.
right our way, let me jump out.
Okay,
But I would do it as I'm getting out, like
okay,
horse. So it's not like having to horse my way through this tunnel.
okay. Whew. How do I want to do this?
Mhm.
I will like, cause you want to make that look so smooth. Your timing's got to be perfect.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to look smooth. I just don't want to get stuck in the tunnel. But it's more important that we find a place just to kind of merge in
Right.
where, like, people that aren't obviously looking our direction. And so I'll wild shape as I get out of the tunnel.
So I'm wondering
But yeah,
what like the timing of that. Like, I guess it could be a luck check if we had that in here, but we don't. Like the so you look, you wait until there's a sort of a clearing. Everybody seems to be paying attention. It takes you a couple minutes, and then boom, you turn into a horse. Robes jumps on, and you.
he can walk alongside. I
Oh,
mean, it's
that's
up to
true.
him.
You don't have to make it awkward for everybody. Um,
Right.
so, uh, and you continue to move on. I'll say yeah, it's totally doable to have a gap up here. I'm gonna say though it takes you maybe. I want to hear what Nubin and Vela's ideas are to see if you go before them or after them because it might take you a while to find a gap with which to have a horse appear, with no one noticing.
Oh. Do you have any thoughts, Newbin, about how you want to do this? You're pretty noticeable.
Well, I'll definitely have the hood up. Uh, they don't need to recognize who I am or what I am. And maybe I'll just stealth into the group and see if I can blend in.
Okay. So you get your hood over way low. You wait and pick the right group. Eventually, you do see what appear to be uh, priests who are also wearing uh, hoods. Not like yours, but not entirely dissimilar. Uh, you wouldn't blend in with them, but you do note that there is perhaps another group that is um, traveling here. You recognize a symbol on their vestments of a red hand. Um,
You do recognize that because we've seen
yeah.
that.
You know that this is a deep cut going back over a year of game time, but there was a group called
Mhm.
the Brotherhood, the Scarlet Brotherhood. Uh, the butler for Anders Solman back in Saltmarsh was a member and tried to kill Robespierre, also tried to kill several of the lizard folk, and they were the ones who, even more so than, actually as it turns out, even more so than Gellin Primewater, fomented some of that revolution. Uh, they are they are chaos agents. You didn't know all that, but I'll say you could probably come to that conclusion without too much trouble. They're trying to watch the world burn. And they are all actually bearers themselves. Between them, they have two poles, and they are Ark of the Covenant style, carrying a chest. It's not an ark, it's a chest. Looks like a treasure chest, locked up pretty good. They all are heavily armed.
I would probably wait. Newman would probably wait for that group to keep passing by,
Okay.
um, and let them keep going. And then he's going to. Um, Aqua. Nope, he's going to try to stealth out.
Okay. Give me the stealth. I'm going to roll a generic no bonus 20 sided die for an entire wagon train. Alright. And you sneak into the sides using the shadows mostly, and then as you can, you merge into traffic, so to speak. No one seemed to notice you, and now you are a hooded figure walking alone, apart from any other groups, but not occasioning any comment. I think actually probably around that same time is what there'd be that break where you could do the horse and Roby uh, routine. Uh, so Vela,
Mockty go horsing.
nice.
Vela's going to um walk down the hill. I'm going to look for a group that has brightly colored capes and cloaks. Anybody that's more than blacks and browns, and try to go at the time when they come by, because I have on an orange cape.
Okay. Uh, you don't see anybody who is quite so festive as all that. They're most even the livery that some of the merchants have is somewhat subdued. Uh, these are this is even in a wagon train with Drow guards, everybody knows this is a dangerous place to attract attention. Um,
Well, it's not super bright. I mean, it's pretty dirty at this point.
I know.
I'm gonna look for a. If I don't see color, I'm gonna look for a wagon area that has younger kids.
Okay.
And
Not a lot of people bringing their kids to the Underdark. Because of
not
the
a lot means there are some.
high incidence of not returning. This is a high risk. This is a
Yeah.
high risk merchant train. Like these are people who are doing this because high risk, high reward. So it's not a. This is not a refugee train. This is not a family train. So I will say after waiting a bit, you find a kid who is absolutely like trying not to talk because it's been told repeatedly by her mother sitting next to her on a horse-drawn carriage with two guards on either side of the carriage that you really need to keep things somewhat quiet.
Two guards, like two Drow guards, or their guards?
Their guards.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that doesn't work either for my plan. So, I guess I'm just gonna go down when there's a bunch of carts and try to slide into the aisle,
Okay.
so that there's just not a lot of visibility. Sort of play Frogger a little bit to kind of slide in like I'm, so it doesn't look like I'm coming from the side.
Give me the stealth check. Or performance if you're trying to make a show of it.
No, definitely not. I was going to, but that did not appear to be a good plan. So.
Okay. So
Like my worst stealth ever.
I was gonna say that has got to be amongst your worst rolls for stealth. Did you
Yeah.
roll? Oh, you had +8. Okay. Uh, so you're noticed sliding in, uh, and it's the guard. I'm gonna say you still went nearby where the kid came out because I don't want to create another vignette here. Uh, and the the kid sees you, and
Mm-hmm.
and the mother looks over. Shh, I told you. Shh, what? And she points at you, and the mother looks over at you quizzically, and she came out of the wall. And the mother.
I'm gonna run up by him. I was from up there. I had to. Nature called, and I tried to find a private space. I'm gonna try and catch up to my group. Sorry for scaring your little one.
All right, deception check. I'll give you advantage because that's pretty funny. That's pretty good. I wondered if anybody was going to use this is the toilet hall. Um,
God.
Oh no.
Man.
You have a reroll. I will point out. If you want to use it, you have one reroll.
Sure, I'll use
Okay.
it. Give us a good reason to encourage. Just normal this time, right?
Yep.
Nope.
Oh,
Just designed to fail. Destined to fail at this process tonight. That's what I get for mending somebody's cart.
Aw.
She says,
Hearing the commotion,
yeah.
Ben comes back in the crowd and says, and grabs her by the arm. Says, "Will you get back up here?" Try to sell the lie.
Nice. You give me a deception check. And you can do something, Vela, to help him to give advantage.
Oh yeah, I definitely would be. I was like, I'm coming. Sorry, I got a lot to drink.
Roll it at advantage. That did
Cool.
not.
God.
Well, we're going to go with the 14.
Okay.
My first one was a 14, so that's still better.
Yeah, and her insight check was a 3, so she's more concerned
Thank
with her
God.
kid making the noises. The guards are all wary, and she's just like, whatever. Uh, it's none of our business. None of our affair. It's none of our business. And you, quiet. Um, and Newman pulls Vela away from that cart and everybody sort of now is looking over at the two of you, and there's a look of, huh? Somebody's not following the rules. Um, and you all continue to move on. Uh, the road widens, and there's uh, the ground underneath it ceases to be just bare cave floor and now becomes cobbled. Uh, and the road straightens out and uh, becomes uh, more level. Uh, but if cobbles are an improvement, it's hard to tell because they break underneath all of the weight of these wheels, and if it hasn't become clear, uh, this is a major trade route, uh, and this has to have been going on for years. Looking at the construction, looking at the walls, looking at improvements, uh, and the although everybody's nervous, you get the sense that this isn't everybody's first rodeo here on this wagon train. Uh, but you look ahead from your various points. I would say like Elva's maybe 100 feet ahead. Even if she slows down later, she would still be quite a bit ahead, having jumped right into it. And then the rest of you waiting on your moments. Uh, and so looking ahead, it starts to decline again, and everybody's getting nervous about their horses and donkeys and goats uh, not sliding um, as you're descending farther and farther towards what looks to be a kind of a grand opening, like a not grand opening as in like what a savings, but like uh, a uh,
Grapthar's hammer.
It's a skill.
but like a this is you're entering an official sort of area here. The tunnel is got major like you're going underneath archways that are now clearly uh, humanoid made and uh, lit in places for their guests' benefit. Like you're now, there's no need for dark vision right now. There are torches and lights, and you are heading into what appears to be some kind of stronghold of a sort. Um, but, and I would say Elva and Mary probably first catch an odor on the wind. Elva's very high perception and also being in front would notice it first. It it stinks like the wind coming out of here stinks like rotting feet, like feet that have been wet and kept in socks to the point where they're split and there's that encased feeling of skin that has not been cared for. It's
Nice.
it's not pervasive yet, but the eyes maybe start to water just a little bit from the smell. And then, as you get a little closer, you see two of the guards. You've seen these creatures before. They're trolls. But these trolls um, are wearing a uniform of a sort uh, and appear to be at work. Um, they are sort of lifting stuff for Drow that as they check carts as they're coming in, it's it's a good half mile in front of you, but you're able to see below you as everything is so well lit down here. Drow inspecting carts and trolls assisting them in that. Uh, Easily 30 Drow guards in front. And you are all walking in that direction. Anything you guys want to do as you start heading here?
I'm gonna look around for a cart of preferably humans, um, somebody that doesn't look that dissimilar from me,
Okay.
and watching for people who appear to be carrying heavy stuff, with the idea that when they get to the point where they're going to have to start moving things to be inspected, I'm going to offer to help.
Okay. You you don't have too much trouble finding that. There's looks like a rather small family grouping, uh, and they are thank you. They are sort of already quietly amongst themselves arguing about who has to um, like move the stuff in, and who's going to repackage this after the troll goes through all of it. And so there's a little bit of a like, and they don't look terribly strong. These look like accountants, and
Yeah.
are
So what I'm
already
thinking is I
nervy.
want to wait until I see somebody strain to lift and then step in and offer a hand.
Okay, all right,
Like, just sort of hover nearby.
got it. All right, that's Elva's plan, and Elva will go first through. The next to go through would probably be Robes and Mary. That's not to say that Elva's gone through yet. I'm just trying to, like pre-game the plan so I know what you're looking for and how to play it out. So yeah, I can come back to you if you want.
Okay, I think what I'm gonna do. I don't want to risk Robespierre. Like, if Winston were here, he might be able to like charismatically deceive his way through.
Sure.
Um, but I don't want to risk. So I'm gonna find a way to just. I'm gonna waste another wild shape. So what I'm gonna do is kind of go off to the side somewhere, and not be a horse. I want to polymorph Robespierre, if he's gonna give me a permission, into a kitten, and I will then wild shape into a cat and carry the kitten by the scruff to just and then curl up on a cart with my kitten so I can keep him safe. I hope
Oh
he's okay with that.
my god. Okay. Um. So Mary trots off to the side with Robes. You guys communicate
I'll
this.
try to convince him.
We've done weirder things. And uh, uh, yeah, I am certain Winston will be delighted with this. And
Happy birthday.
might not have been his idea, but he will be delighted that it happened. So you guys wait for a cart to go by that looks like a cat might have snug, one that has the blankets over it and everything. Uh, Now, Robes is a true kitten under the spell, so I don't know shit all about cats. So
Well, I'm carrying him by the scruff
Scruff,
of the neck
right.
like a mother cat.
and then
So
when you
he's
curl up,
he needs to learn.
okay,
And yup, he's gonna be like held by Mama Cat.
okay,
Mama Cat's not letting this kitten get away.
okay. Um, wouldn't it be funny if there were like this lore that Drow hate cats and like cats hate Drow?
I was thinking too, like cats on a ship,
Yeah,
maybe cats on a caravan aren't so bad to keep the
right.
rodents
No, I think
away.
I think it makes
You know?
makes sense. Except for it's actually written into the lore that there are only certain places in the Underdark where there's rats.
Interesting.
But anyway, so you you just do that because I don't know what you would roll. Like I don't want to do like a jump check or anything like that to make sure you can get in the cart. I'm gonna just you you curl up in a cart with your robes be kitten, and that's it. Uh,
You're not doing anything weird for a cat that might make somebody make an insight check.
no, there is absolutely like I can't find a like other than it's like somebody might be surprised to find a cat in their stuff, so that might be interesting when it's searched. But get
Maybe.
we'll
Yeah.
get there when we get there. So that's okay. So we've got Elvis looking for a place to uh, assist with lifting and just look like oh yeah, I'd be happy and hopefully glide through is what I think I'm hearing you do.
Yep.
Then we've got Cat and Kitten, and then what do we? Noobs and uh, Vela have already sort of even role played a little bit of uh, overseer and worker almost here with the where you go. So, but what are you guys gonna do to get through? And you are muted.
In your head, noob, you hear. Noob, you hear in your head. What are we gonna do to get through the gate?
I haven't thought that far ahead yet.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. What do we see around us? Who is in the caravan near us after we ran forward?
You're
Don't worry, you can chew.
Newbin had
No
waited
choking.
until the Scarlet Brotherhood group had moved ahead, and then ran back towards you where the kid was. You guys are now just a little bit ahead of the Scarlet Brotherhood group as you're walking, and you see a group of dwarves um, with a iron cart, and it looks like they're bringing in some sort of ore, but it's in barrels. And is very heavily laden. In fact, there's cracked stone, like where this heavy cart just every once in a while just chips out a bit of stone, and it is being pulled by very stout donkeys, four of them, to pull this one cart. And then no dwarf is riding on a donkey or on the cart. There are four dwarves near the donkeys and another four walking alongside the cart.
I feel like outside of character, we're supposed to be able to come up with something based on that.
Yeah.
I'm just spinning shit. I don't know. My job's just to build stuff. You guys come up with stuff, so.
Yeah.
You could not like that one and try to move forward, or slow down and try to find something in the back if you
just
want.
keep making the DM work.
Well,
Are you eating chocolate? Okay.
It's so much better.
Yeah.
I just got like school marmed.
This is because historically
Did you bring enough
Rex
for
and I-
everyone?
our we will go to make chocolate chips or chocolate chip cookies, and the chocolate chip cookie bin, like the chips themselves, will have been eaten by the handful by Paul, and so we will not be able to make cookies because he'll just sit and eat chips. So chocolate chips, not Dorito chips. But do you know any of those guys in the red capes? Nope.
I do not.
Do they look like people that are
Does-
like your
Does it look like everyone is carrying something?
Yeah, most people are. There's not a lot. I mean, Elva's not the only person walking without something, and now that there's kittens, because the horse and the rider might, or walker, might be a little odd, but not completely odd. But there are some people who are just traveling. That is true. There are a couple, so a few here and there. Get the sense maybe there are
I would,
business deals to be
I
brokered.
would think that. Yeah, I would think that that would be the angle that we would try to spin. That we were just traveling.
Okay.
We're
Uh,
just okay. Maybe we should like get a tiny little thing out of the bag of holding and just have it in case the trolls need something to help us get out of, pass through without problems. Like, don't we have like a coin purse in there that's made out of velvet? I could wear that. It would be like a really obvious, like, oh, here's this very velvety thing. Oh, maybe you need to
that's
inspect the
exactly how
velvet
you
bag.
should say that.
I'm not gonna do that.
It's just was so weird. Hey, here's this velvety thing.
Like,
I don't know why that's a
Would
problem.
Would you like to touch my velvety sack?
Where's Robe's rod when you need it?
Yeah, he's trying not to actually call it that anymore. He just my oath keeper device.
Yeah.
So I'll put. You have the bag? You have the bag of holding, right?
I do. I'm looking at it right now.
Can I get that pouch?
The velvety sack?
The velvety sack was the size of a giant.
Oh.
That's an awful big sack.
It is a large velvety sack.
Say it more.
We have a. I'm gonna reach into the bag of holding and I'm gonna hand.
I thought you were gonna say velvety
Vela. No, I'm gonna hand Vela the giant bone core comb and hairpins.
Oh.
Here,
Why?
here, use this. And I'm going to pull out the large uncarved carnelian as if it's going to be some sort of offering. Oh no! I take it back. I'm going to pull out a bolt of silk worth 3,000 gold pieces.
Oh yeah.
300.
300. Yeah, sorry. I'm going cross-eyed here.
Okay.
What am I supposed to do with this? It's like the same height as me.
Exactly.
But
And you're the
thing
champion that took it.
No, why would I bring it to the... What? Put this back. I'll
All right,
keep
hold
one
on, let me
hairpin.
see
I'm
what-
going to keep one hairpin, and I'm going to use it as a
Let me see what
walking
else-
stick.
I'm gonna hand her the folded up giant velvety chain first.
Okay.
I was wrong, okay? I was wrong.
Put your hairpins and your comb in the change
Okay.
Or else it gets the hose.
I know, that's exactly what my
And
brain was
Yeah.
sell it.
Put it in first. Okay.
Or else it gets the hose.
Like tripping over this bag as I'm trying to put the comb and the hairpins
We've
in
been
it.
playing this game for 4 years. and it occurs
Uh-huh.
to me that there just has not been enough Bizarro Nuben Vela interactions. Hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Here's some fucked up. I, I think you
What am
guys
I supposed to...
in the
Okay.
Shaggy Scooby sometimes with Velma and Daphne and Fred split ups. I don't think you guys end up on the same team enough, is what I'm saying. I think.
Nice.
All right.
Because it's
still not
Velma
sure
and
if you're
Fred.
planning to bribe the trolls or just creep them out.
I know I don't know at all, but
Me neither.
my thought was though
Me
a
neither.
troll is a giant and they're known for their lanky, greasy hair. So I thought maybe they were gonna be like, "Hey, you need this."
Ew. Well, yeah. So I'm gonna carry. I'm gonna have it like strapped over, like hold it over my back like this, like I've been
Okay.
like, because the comb's gonna be like the same size as me. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
a like if you were carrying a log on your back kind of thing.
Or if your
I
cloud
think
strife and just holding his Buster sword.
I think a comb would be more like the size of a short sword. Because giants
Okay.
aren't like the giants you guys have met. The tallest ones were 15 feet. So think
Uh-huh.
of tripling the size of whatever you use.
Oh, sure.
So
Okay.
the comb would go from here maybe to here.
Mhm.
So
Right. Okay. Okay. Giant velvety sack with a bone comb and some hairpins.
Better and better.
that's my new blue-eyed soul
Your
R&B
giant
band.
sack and bone.
Uh-huh.
Bone
Yeah.
home.
I'm Velvety Sack and the Bone Comb. We're gonna be singing all of the '60s R&B hits. Okay.
Yep, the ones about the underage people.
No, creepy. Okay.
Chantilly lace.
Oh, that's not R&B. That's just crap. Okay.
Right, it's just all the 50s and 60s, whatever.
And the
That-
bone
that's
comb.
And the
yeah,
Bone
go
Comb.
along with somebody who would be calling themselves Bone Comb.
Ugh. Okay. So,
She
uh,
was just 17.
you guys get to the gate, and you able. We'll start with Elva. Um, and Elva, you've had a
So I'm
time.
gonna wait for a little while before that, and then when they struggle, step in and say, "Do you need a hand?"
You've had. I was just gonna say you've had some time to observe as well that what happens. Like
Yeah.
you watch the process. So generally they come forward. The two Drow ask in heavily accented common what they're carrying, what they're bringing in, uh, and and then as they start, they write down the names of the people, they write down the contents, and then they they give a signal to the troll, and the troll will lift up everything and kind of look down through it. Uh, and so, as your group that you've made out as your marks here, not marks, but you know what I mean, the people
Mhm.
you are going to be using to get in, uh, they approach and they are sweating and they're anxious. Um, and so, the they give their names, which uh, they go by.
So I would like to have established
Oh,
a
okay.
connection with them before that.
Okay, how do you want to do that?
Like I want to step in when they're struggling with their stuff before they get to the gate
Oh,
and
okay.
offer to help, so that when I get there, I'm already like with them and like have made a little bit of cursory small talk, and
Gotcha. Um,
that's my goal, is to make that connection before we get to the gate.
um, so as they start struggling with it, you can kind of, I mean, if you want to make a perception check to make out, but they are whispering at each other.
A make out?
No. Um, I get why you said that though. That you can't to make out what they're saying. Um,
Right.
the you they are like whispering at each other hurriedly, frantically, and a little bit. It uh, there's a nervousness that's new.
Okay.
Um, so a perception check to actually because they're speaking in common. So let's see if you can pick up what they're talking about. Nice. Um, the one said, "Are you sure? Are you sure we should leave it under there, or just declare it? Declare it, or do we go through with this? I'm getting really nervous."
I'm gonna back off.
Okay.
They can have their own trouble.
Okay. Uh, so you back up, and they argue over it, and they decide to stay with the course of action. Uh, and right before they go through, the troll is looking at one, and the eyeballing it, and he looks over at the other troll and gives him, come over here. And the two of them lift the cart up and look underneath it. Nope, nothing. And then they put the troll down, or the cart back down. Uh, and then the person hooks it back up to the horse and is like, "Sorry for inconvenience. You look shifty." And the person goes through. Now the two brothers are sweating bullets as they walk forward.
I'm just gonna walk in behind them.
Okay. As they get to the front, they shake hands with the Drow, and I'm going to just keep your perception check. You note a platinum is exchanged.
Yeah. Okay.
And they sweat, and the one looks at the platinum in his hand, tucks it into his belt, and says, "All right, give him the inspection." And the trolls walk forward, and they're looking, and is this everything? Yeah, that's everything. Everything, nothing. What you see, and it's a whole bunch of like well-made daggers and short swords, uh, and very heavy cases. Like they're the straw-lined big cases of weaponry that's coming in. Um, each nothing else, and the one goes, "I think we should look." And the no, no, no. You've already bothered one group. They can go through. And goes, "Okay." And the two go through with the cart, and you're up behind them. Step forward.
Yep. I'm just gonna walk in.
Oh, sorry. Your name?
Elva Willowspark.
Alpha Willow Spark. And your business is
Just traveling to the city.
all the way to.
Bit of wanderlust, really.
You just wish to see the city.
Yes, I've heard wonderful things. It sounds amazing.
You
City
get this.
that large, fully underground.
um, it is amazing, and we do wish to show off our architectural prowess. Um, Perhaps there are. You would want to make a donation for the safekeeping forces of Erulai Kenlu and the surrounding areas.
It's like a toll road. Sure. What's the toll?
Oh, it's not a toll per se, it's a donation. Um, but we would be happy to accept your donation of 5 gold.
Oh, well, that seems fair. I'll hand him 5 gold.
Okay. Very good. And with your perception check.
I don't have any cargo. Sorry. Kind of boring.
No, it's much easier this way. Off you go.
Perception check is a 16.
Okay. They circled your name. You don't know why.
Okay.
All right. You go in to this cavernous tunnel. Now we come to Kitty Boo Boo, um, and it's a couple of situations back of cavern, and you get up to the front. Mary could probably, because Mary still has all of her faculties, would have some conception, even being under a blanket in a cart, how you know that you're getting closer. You can hear the sounds of, and so uh, you hear a person declaring, and you know very well that you are in a bunch of preserved vegetables. Uh, the smell of vinegar is strong. Salt. Uh, you're somebody went to a store and just kept getting sauerkraut. There's so much sauerkraut jars around, and pickle relish. Um, it's just a lot. Uh, but anyway, that's where you're at, and the uh, the cart comes and the the trolls wrinkle their noses. I don't want to look at this. We have to. And the blanket gets pulled off, and you can hear the humans trying to untie it at the time, and they pull it off, and the light now on, and Robe's kitten just has light coming right at him. I don't know what would a kitten do.
Well, right now this kitten's kind of curled up
Curled
with
up.
Mama Kitten, so I'm trying to keep him from getting too frisky.
So
So,
you as a cat with your kitten held down, you look up and see two troll heads looking down at you. Uh, Meow. Okay.
I just go, meow. Yeah, like, you know, friendly.
There's a cat. And the Drow come over to. You didn't have a cat on your manifest. We don't have a cat. And they're all walking back, and they're like, "This isn't our cat." Yeah, shoot, cat, shoot. And they're gonna all like shoot at you to run off. They're like,
All
"That
right,
cat's dead."
I'll pick up, like the kitten in my, in its scruff and jump from the cart and just
Scamper off.
just scamper off. But I'm gonna try to
Through the gate.
go in between legs.
Yep,
just
go
kinda
through legs
go
and
through the
try to.
gate, Yeah,
Don't go straight through the gate, but try to
right.
circle around. Yeah.
Zigzag, just like that one did in the background there.
And one of the Drow says in common just to the drover, probably would have been a mercy to just kill it. Who knows what's gonna get it down here? um, but we'll just let something eat it that's hungry, and you zigzag through and make your way in. Once you get in the arches, it's very dark in there, and there are several niches in the walls. The smell, it now has this. Before it was sort of like upon the wind. Now you feel like you're entering uh, a place that just owns that smell. It's in the ceiling. The smell of dank foot.
It's not a good time to have keen smell.
No. And but you do see several places where you could change shape if you so chose. If you don't want to, that's fine too. But just to let you know, there's several niches that you could get into. So.
Well, and is it just another kind of like checkpoint, and then on the other side road continues, or
No,
are we entering like a
this
building? Or
feels
what are
like
we...
you're well, it's not a building because it's just a cavern that seems purposed. Like this is like an outlying village of, and maybe an outpost, but not a checkpoint. This is much, much larger. As you look down the hallway, it appears to go it's all dressed stone all the way down, um, lit with torches, um, and then the torches stop, and you can see a glittering cavern Elva sees this too when Elva walked in. A glittering cavern, huge high ceilings, 100 feet high, stalagmites everywhere, and just offshoots of tunnels coming out of this main large cavern space. And you see people walking through here as if they're doing business, but no marketplace. This seems like more like how do I put this? Like a train yard. So like Dusty was right on with the things are assembled into trains. So these trains are coming in here and they're all going to be traveling different routes out of here. And so they're being reassembled in this area. And
Come here.
throughout here are
Come
a
on.
number of ways in and out.
Ah,
But right now, it's only terribly clear the way you came in. You just get the sense that things are getting assembled and moved.
I think I'll stay a cat for a while. I
Okay.
mean, it seems like it'd be easier to be unseen or unnoticed, uncared about,
Okay.
than if I just
And
turn into
polymorph
Corval
lasts
and-
forever, right?
Well, no,
An hour.
it's an hour.
Hour? Oh, I thought it was
So,
24 hours. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That we'll break with Marion Robes there. Vela and Noob, you have a comb, and I forgot what Nubin was carrying.
Pull the silk.
Bolt of silk.
And you are behind. I think the dwarves go through, and that takes time. And you're watching them go through this heavy, and the dwarves just appear to be no nonsense about the whole thing. They're just like, take it or leave it, it's here. And then they eventually make it through, and then the two of you approach.
I'm here to
Hi.
trade some fine silk and some giant curiosities. This is my associate.
Hello. I have a velvet sack and a bone comb. And some hairpins.
And they take your names down. Are you giving real names?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
And I'm moving kind of off to the side, does the side hand, and my associate insisted on coming along, and she's somewhat touched from an experience when she was younger, and she's basically my ward. I'm making Bela sound crazy.
And
I have a velvet sack and a bone comb and some hairpins.
and one of them looks at her.
Write that down.
One of them looks at the other one and goes, "She's like Shalagala? Like, is she all?"
Shalagala.
Yeah.
Oh. No.
And the other one, it looks like it. Oh, okay. Off you go. They ask you for the donation on behalf of the Good Brotherhood of guards and people who keep things safe here for people traveling the roads.
And I give them a couple of them from that I had also pulled out of the sack and without anybody watching.
What did you
A
give
what?
A couple of platinum from the bag of holding.
Okay.
What? Wait, I was gonna give you a bone comb.
They took the
And
they take the 2 platinum from you, and the one actually goes, well, this might come in handy for you, and he hands you a little disc, and you can read everything, cause monk, right? You can read, right? Or does it have to be spoken?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Give me a second here. Features. This is.
I know. I think Winston chose like devil whatever he can read everything, but
Good Lord, I can't even remember what it's called. Town of Sun and Moon. But no, I can only understand spoken language.
okay, so you can't read it, but yeah, there's a symbol on it. And he says, should be good help you get around.
What is it?
Oh, it's
And I'm just going to nod and say thank
What?
you and
What?
grab Vela by the arm and
Wait,
pull
what
her
does
through.
it say?
it says Shalagala. There you go. Off you go.
What did he say? What did he say? You hear in your head, what did he say? What did he say?
He said she's got the crazy eyes.
No!
um,
That's what the token says?
no,
Crazy eyes?
no, that's what Shalagala means.
Well, I know, but that's I was hoping he was going to read the token
Oh.
to us. That's why I was trying to make him, what is it? What is it? So then you would be able to know what it said.
Yeah, and they patronizingly patted you on the top of your head and said it's just Shalagala.
Ugh.
They're assholes.
Rayla's like holding back tears.
And
And Nuba's trying to hold back the giggling while he kind of drags her along.
all right. And you all enter the central outpost. And we're going to actually stop there for the night because I don't want to go into this big, huge map. And have you guys start this business. But I will at least put your tokens on here to give you an idea what you're
Well, it'd be nice to have robes for the.
Mhm.
I think I put Meriwether on just now. Vela. And who am I missing? Is it Noobs? Noobs. Alright, can you guys see at all?
Yes.
It's rather purple.
So you're in this main carved out hallway, and then you see this rough cavern that just stretches on for several football fields of length, and then several off passages. Walking through here, I don't make a. You see all sorts of creatures wearing drow like pseudo livery. Like you see, you've encountered bugbears, I believe, um, and you see several of them, and then to the sides, moving quietly, almost as if they're trying not to attract attention. You see these sort of lizardy scaled fish looking type creatures, and when one of them comes close, none of them get close enough to you that you feel like you might retch from the smell, but you feel like if you are around it too long, you will throw up. Uh, they just throw off an oily stink. And there are also drow moving through here and several merchants gathering. And you see people doing side deals in here as their carts are pulled into this giant cavern. You see some people actually moving deals, and you hear other people saying, you must register and get your medallion to move forward. And that's happening here. They say the next wagon trains will leave tomorrow. Heading to the shrines, heading east or heading west. So you start to pick up a couple
Heading
of,
east or heading west, or was that a typo on your part?
not a typo, a completely badly phrased thing. Hold on. Heading to the shrines to the northwest. Heading parts west for those seeking, and he's going to say a name that I don't have on me right now because I don't have the PDF up.
Gary.
But it's another Drow uh, sort of village, and then heading northeast is another Drow village. But the shrine I know because that's easy to remember. Shrine. Uh, so, but I will have all of that ready for you guys when we next play. So, uh, and then you've got this place to navigate. So, sorry for the sort of ending, but I didn't want to get started on this map without, everybody. Also, I think we'd start it and then it would end just as awkwardly as this. So we'll just start it with you looking down on this sort of assemblage area and then seeing lots of uh, creatures kind of moving into smaller tunnels to the west and east. And you don't really see your way out from your main map yet. But you can maybe surmise which direction to go in. Because this is pointing the right direction. So, you wanted to head northwest, so.
Yay.
So, okay. Alright, I slightly earlier ending, but I'm a little tired, and so I'm kind of tapping out really quick here. So, I think we're playing in 2 weeks, right? Is there anything preventing us from playing in 2 weeks? That's
Nope, not to my
October
knowledge.
1st. Okay. So, Vault of the Drow will continue on October 1st. Tomorrow night, we have the Warbler Brothers coming back after a little bit of a hiatus. And I don't think we have. And then after that, we don't know specifically what's happening with Call of Cthulhu just yet. But when we know, we'll let you know. Until then, roll some dice, play some games, give of time and treasure to causes that are meaningful for you. Have a good one. Shalagala, everybody. Shalagala.
Just means
Oh
whatever
my
it
God.
wants to mean, right?
It just means what you want.